now because of a large brush fire they're trying to get under control. 70 east to westbound around the city limits heavy. Westbound, the delays begin actually through Kings Highway. Eastbound 70, that crash at our city has a jam back pretty close to the Blanchette Bridge, and westbound slowdowns coming off 270. In fact, the right lanes north 270 are bogged down midway back to Dorset. South 270 backed up through 64. Then approaching Manchester down to Gravois slow. South 170 bogs down at Ladue. North 170 Scudder Airport Road's a little busy. Westbound 64 Science Center out through Clayton Skinkers heavy, and still pretty congested from 364 on to out to Highway 70. If you're on Highway 55, just a little busy. Gasconade Bates, north of Z to McNutt. Westbound 44 heavy past the Poplar. Eastbound 64 157 midway to 159, and westbound 64 both sides of 159 are slow. Next update at 5:20 from the Michaels Flooring Outlet.com Traffic Center.
News, traffic, and the latest on the Redbirds. This is the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
It's the Friday edition of Redbird Rush Hour right here on KMOX. No Kevin Wheeler. He's moving his daughter right now. He's going from I think he was from North Carolina to Chicago, I believe it is. I don't know if I'm sharing more information than I should be sharing about our good friend Kevin Wheeler, but he's lifting boxes and driving cross country and flying places and doing all kinds of stuff. But that's all right. Bernie Miklasz and myself, Matt Pauley, we can hold down the fort. I'm in Florida. Bernie's in the lair, and we're going to have you for the next hour. Bernie, always good to see you and talk to you. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. And, you know, I think the real question is, how are you doing? And I know you'll be returning to the family relatively soon, and that'll be a joyous reunion.
Yeah, I'm about next Saturday is my last day in. I'll broadcast the game next Saturday afternoon, and then as soon as we get off the air, I will head to the airport and get home. I told my wife, you have two choices. I can either take the last flight out on Saturday, which will have a connection, and I'll land in St. Louis 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. And mind you, we have a 6-year-old and a 20-month-old, so that means keeping them up and bringing them to the airport at 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. Or I can spend the night in Florida and take the first flight out the next morning and come get me 9, 10 o'clock. And she was very clear. She wanted me home as soon as possible. Ooh. So she will be making it to the airport 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning.
I take that as a good sign, man. Mrs. Pauley loves you.
She does.
Got to get you home. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, like just public acknowledgement of my wife as I'm down here for 4 weeks and she's got 2 kids to take care of. Our oldest has strep throat right now. Like there's just all kinds of stuff. So she is amazing. I am lucky to be married to her, and I'm lucky that she deals with me being gone for a month every year when I come down to spring. So Bernie, I was thinking about this. So we just got done talking with Oliver Marmol maybe an hour and a half ago after today's game. Today's game was kind of a slug of a game. It was not great. But something happened before the game, Bernie, and that was Dustin May threw a simulated game. So not a live BP, an actual simulated game. And Ollie told us a little bit about it. Some of the media were over there watching it. I didn't make it back to the backfields for it, but a bunch of the media were. We don't have the StatCast data for stuff that happens on the backfields. We only have StatCast data for what happens. So you never really know exactly how hard somebody's throwing. Ollie told us that Dustin May in his first simulated game was going 97-98 on the fastball. And the other day, we saw Richard Fitz in a game just pumping 98 like it's nothing. And I'm sitting here thinking, this might not be your grandfather's Cardinals. We are going to see some legitimate velocity, and that's going to continue to move forward. But the fact that this rotation might have Dustin May throwing 98, 99, might have Richard Fitz touching 99 at some point. These are good developments that are happening right now.
No, absolutely. And you know, we've talked about this, and my attitude about their pitching, their starting pitching in particular, is that I like the collection of arms that they have. And as I was telling Chris Ranji yesterday, I'm not sitting here predicting that the Cardinals are going to have like a top 5 rotation in the National League. Not at all. But what I am saying is that there is more talent. There are more people. The depth is much better. They're going to have options. They're going to have choices. They're going to have pitchers that can give you different looks. And some of the people in the mix have also worked on their pitch arsenal, and they they're bringing a little something different to the competition. Matthew Libator throwing the splitter, which could be a devastating pitch for him. Andre Palante, I know that kick change was okay, but Richard Fitz has increased his velo. He's doing some different things. I don't want to go down the whole list. I'm just saying I just kind of like the collection and the depth. And in Dustin May's case, that's exciting news. And I don't care if it's on a backfield. I know you feel the same way. The number one thing about him is, number one, is he fully healthy? Number two, is he at his physical best? In other words, are there any lingering issues from all the problems that he's had? He's at his peak physically in terms of what he's capable of doing. That's exciting to me.
Yeah.
I'll take it. I'll take it today.
I will too. And I think there's really good stories from basically, maybe we can argue how good the story is with Andre Palante. Like, I'm not trying to sit here and be facetious about things. We'll see what Palante looks like. He's my biggest question mark when it comes to the rotation. But we can take every single guy that's in contention for a rotation spot, and there is a positive story to tell. Even somebody like Hunter Dobbins, who we haven't seen pitch yet, every single medical checkup he gets, he's right where they need him to be. They've been continuing to develop the arm. They're just being very careful with the lower body stuff. So I don't know. I think starting pitching it's going to be if they're starting a postseason game tomorrow, I don't feel great about it. But when you're playing 162 games and you want to have a group that can basically keep you in the game on an every night basis, that this group, I feel like, has the possibility of that being the baseline, where if all of a sudden some of these dudes with some big time velo find something, it could turn into a little bit of a strength for this team.
No doubt about it. And they also have, like, they had no depth last year. I know they could have. I know that John Mozeliak could have subbed in McGreevy to that rotation and gotten rid of Fetty earlier. I know that, but even then, okay, you got like one extra guy that you can turn to. The Cardinals this year, I think, are going to have a lot of extra guys they can turn to, provided that some of the guys that start the season out, down to AAA, perform well. But they'll be able to get help there when call people up. And the other thing, I'm going to ask you about this because you're down there and you're informed, and I'm not. Last year, and I've been looking at this, and again, this is not like a new topic. The Cardinals never went full 6-man rotation, but they went through stretches where they did, and it did keep that whole staff pretty fresh. It certainly was a factor in their health as a rotation. Nobody got hurt, knock on wood. And they seem, Ollie Marmol and Dusty Blake, and I'm sure the front office has some say in this, they seem to have found a pretty good formula for keeping guys fresh. How much talk has there been about, doing the same thing this year, but maybe even more so in terms of a sixth guy in that rotation on occasion?
Yeah, I get the sense that it's going to be similar to last year, because you remember Steven Matz got a start here, a start there, like in the first month of the season as the sixth guy. And then he became a bullpen guy only. They brought McGreevy up every once in a while, but it never felt like they were bringing McGreevy up because they needed a sixth man. There would always be something else. But one of the biggest themes here, and I'm going to come back to where you were going, Bernie. This could take me a second. One of the biggest themes here has been they want to vision out what's going on as if there is not a precedent set by 100+ years of baseball, where they are going to do what they think is best for guys. And if that means that they're going to take longer to ramp guys up and give them a little bit more time of rest when the season gets started, then they're going to do it. So I would be surprised if we don't see 6 guys making starts in the first month of the season. Now, what could change that, Bernie? What could change it is it becomes very clear that you only have 5 guys who are ready to be in the rotation. If Andre Palante just looks like second half Andre Palante last year, you're not going to throw him out in the rotation just to have a 6th guy. If somebody gets injured, you're not going to force a Quinn Matthews, force an Eshawn Henderson, force whoever, just to have a sixth guy. But if everybody stays healthy, I think we will see a 6-man rotation. And I go back and forth on this because, the Brewers went straight 6-man rotation. Was it 21 when Corbin Burns won the Cy Young Award? Does that sound right?
I believe so.
First year after COVID. It was 21 or 22. 21. They went straight 6-man rotation in 2021. And the result of that was starting pitchers going deeper into games. That those guys with the extra day of rest, they were able to pitch deeper into games. Now, that was the year where a lot of people were complaining about Burns winning the Cy Young because he didn't pitch enough innings. He didn't pitch a lot of innings because he was pitching every 6th day, not every 5th day. But I saw the Brewers run a 6-man rotation and were very, very successful with it. So if you are a team, and this doesn't apply to the Brewers because the Brewers had the Cy Young Award winner in Corbin Burns. But if last year you didn't want to do this where you're giving an extra day of rest to Sonny Gray when he doesn't need it. You don't have this like top of rotation guy that I think you feel super pressured to make sure that he's getting a start every single 5th day. So I think there's a lot of value in finding that 6-man rotation. Very long answer to what you said. Sorry.
No, man. Are you kidding? You're talking to the king of the long-winded answer. You're nothing, man. As far as like long answers, that's nothing. Anyway, no, I wish I could find something because I actually went through every game log last year and I was surprised by the number. I'll just say this. I was really surprised by the number of starts the Cardinals made, whoever the starting pitcher is, just as a team. How many starts were made on basically 6 days rest, rather than the standard 5, right? Every 5th day. There was a lot of every 6th day stuff going on. More than I realized in real time. And, that included giving some extra breathers to Sonny Gray. They were really, really, really smart about it, how they did it. And let's face it, not to be a jerk or anything, but, for a long time, that rotation last year had, Fetty and Palante and Miklasz. So you didn't have all that much to work with, to be polite.
Yeah.
And I think that Ollie and Dusty Blake, I think they squeezed about as much as they could realistically out of the rotation. And one of the reasons they did that is by being creative and to your point, doing something different that goes against baseball norms. And they didn't go crazy with it, but they did it enough to where I think it really mattered on a rotation that was really thin on depth. One way you keep guys healthy is you don't wear them out, So I thought it was really smart planning by Ollie and Dusty Blake last season.
That's Bernie Miklasz. I'm Matt Pauley. This is the Redbird Rush Hour. We're back with more in a moment on KMOX.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter.
So whatever reason, this is something that maybe not a whole lot of people like to talk about. I have no problem talking about it. I am on a GLP-1. I just started it. I'm 3 weeks into it. I am starting to see a little bit of results here. I put on some jeans the other day and it was just a little bit looser and that made me happy. I don't know if people think that it's cheating. I don't think it's cheating. I know how hard I work. I work out every single day. I eat pretty healthy. I have a hard time losing weight. And there's a lot of people who have that exact same situation. So I went and I talked to the absolutely amazing people at STL Weight Loss Injections. And we just kind of talked through my life and what's going on. And they figured out that I would absolutely be a very good candidate for this. And it's really easy. It's super easy to get in. It's $199 for the first month. So you're not going to break the bank on it, which is great for you if it's something that you have been thinking about. I would just encourage you to get in contact with them. There are a lot of people. I've had so many people ask me questions about it, and it just seems to me there's a ton of people who are wondering whether or not this is for them, whether or not they should be doing it. Well, there's a good chance that it's going to help you get a little bit healthier, and that's going to be a really good thing for you. So go to their website, stlweightlossinjections.com, stlweightlossinjections.com. Give them a call, 636-244-5333. It's STL Weight Loss Injections.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, we still have westbound 70 closed at Stubblefield, jammed back to Greenville on the Illinois side due to a large brush fire in the area. We've got multiple brush fires out there, but that's the one that's impacting the most people, obviously. Working an injury crash, eastbound 70 at 141 at our city, right lane's blocked. Traffic eastbound's jammed at 5th Street, westbound's backed up coming off the 270 ramp, southbound at the Rock Road, the right lane's northbound are bogged down at Dorset. South 270 Clayton Road through Manchester, Big Bend to Gravois is slow. South 170 a little busy at Brentwood. Westbound 70 we have an incident now west of Jennings Station, and it's a solid jam back to Riverview. And then there's still slow traffic coming through 270, like I said, to our city, looking at the eastbound wreck, and then from A to Z in the Wentzville area. Westbound 64 Kings Highway out through McCausland and jammed Lake St. Louis Boulevard out to Highway 70. Southbound 55, just a little busy, Gasconade Bates and at Z. Westbound 44 slow between the bridges. Eastbound and westbound 64 both have delays between 157 and 159, midway between those 2 points due to road work. I'm Roger Brand at the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Bernie Miklasz on KMOX is sponsored by Stewart's American Mortgage, home of the Bagel Loan, and by Salika Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer. Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
It is the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX. My name is Matt Pauley. Bernie Miklasz is alongside. We are taking you until we're done at 6 o'clock, and then I've got Sports Open Line tonight from 6 to 8. Mark Feinsand from MLB.com is going to be on the program tonight. Bernie, he's been embedded with the Cardinals this week. He's been the MLB.com Cardinals beat reporter for the last week. I'd never really gotten to know Mark, so it's been fun having him around for a week or so down here in Jupiter.
He's really terrific, and I've never really gotten to know him either, but I've admired his work for a long time. He's a real pro. He writes well. He reports well. He's very responsible in terms of being a journalist. I mean, he digs for information. No, he's great. I'm glad he's there. And, I've been told that they will at some point have a full-time beat writer, perhaps somebody new assigned to the Cardinals. If you don't mind me saying this, because I do think Cardinals fans are great. One thing they do is we in the media may get on their nerves or whatever, but they really appreciate having different people to go to listen to read, whatever. And one thing that I say this as an old sports writer, but also as someone who loves to read reporting, or listen to reporting. Yeah. I don't know what's going on with The Athletic. And I'll keep this brief. There's a young writer who was on X today who was saying, basically telling everyone that he's been assigned to be the beat writer covering the Washington Nationals. And I'm looking at that. I'm like, am I missing something here? Like, I know the Athletics had some cutbacks or this and that, and I know the Cardinals have had a rough stretch. There's still an amazing amount of interest in the St. Louis Cardinals just because their fans are frustrated with them. We know this at KMOX. We know this at STL Sports Central. We know this through radio ratings and TV ratings. There's still a lot of interest in the Cardinals. I'm not sure why anyone that has had a beat writer embedded in here would suddenly vacate that. That doesn't make any sense to me. So hopefully that will change.
Yeah, I hope it does too. And I'm not trying to speak out of turn. I've heard some rumblings on some things that for people who follow the media industry, the Washington Post recently. The Washington Post was one of the great sports sections in American history. The investigative reporting that took place out of that sports newsroom is unmatched. And they just blew up the sports department recently, where basically they're not covering sports anymore. So all of those folks are gone. I was told by somebody that essentially The Athletic sees this as an opportunity because now there's so much less reporting going on out of DC that they were going to try to increase their presence in Washington. And so there's a direct correlation to what happened at the Washington Post to these hirings that we're seeing at The Athletic, but that might actually have a trickle down effect on whether or not they hire a Cardinal beat writer.
And as one of our listeners, and thank you, Brian, said, and Katie Wu told me the same thing. It's her understanding there will be a Cardinals beat writer, but it hasn't happened yet, and I guess we have to wait. And listen, I think we all miss Katie. We're happy for her. She gets to go back home and cover the Dodgers. It's a great assignment. But man, the subscribers of The Athletic love Katie Wu, and she brought a lot of people to The Athletic. So I'm gonna have to stay in touch with her. I think very highly of her. We did a podcast together, and anyway, enough of the media talk. I just wanted to bring that up. Let's get into Cardinals stuff.
Yeah, so David sent in a message. I wanted to touch on this. Said, great news on Dustin May, and says, what's your thoughts on Bryson Mott's taking on the same role that Steven Matz had last year? This was something, Bernie, and we weren't planning on talking about this today, but I think it's a really, really good question from David, so I wanted to address it. Ali spent a fair amount of time within the last few days talking about the idea of when you have young, exciting players, do you push them into a big league role sooner that might not be the role that they can eventually get to where they can be the most impactful, or do you keep them in the minors continuing to push for that bigger role? So like somebody like a Bryson Montz, who was the minor league pitcher of the year last year and has essentially been a starter throughout his career. If he looks really good in spring this year, do you immediately push him in to a major league bullpen role this year because he can help you at the big leagues, or do you send him at Memphis where he can continue to train as a starter? And I kind of lean towards the sending him to Memphis and let him be a starter because I want guys to be given the opportunity to become the best version of themselves. I don't know how you feel about it.
No, I'm with you, brother. I think he's got a chance to be really, really good. There's a lot of attributes to the way he pitches, and he can really keep hitters off balance. It's not just rear back and throw. And for a lefty, you kind of like that. You like these guys that have some tricks in their bag. And I think a guy like that, yeah, he could probably help you left-handed relief at the big league level because they have JoJo Romero. After that, it's a big question mark. I think we're all rooting for Packy Naughton after all he's been through. But no, a guy like Mott's, you could see a scenario where he would be in your rotation next season. The same with Quinn Matthews. We can name some others. I'd rather see him stay on that starter track, start as in prepared and develop to be a starter in the big league soon. I want him to see. I don't see a point in interrupting that. I really don't.
Yeah, I would agree. Maybe let him start a little bit. Maybe he comes up at the end of the season as a relief pitcher, but keep him on that starter's track for a while. That's Bernie. I'm Matt. It's Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. YourEyeDoc.com.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's best eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Hereeth my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times?
You're playing the lute. Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2025 Nielsen report.
At 5:30, the news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We've got 70 degrees downtown at the Arch. A new race to the moon is underway between the United States and China, according to NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman, who tells CBS News there is now a winning strategy in place for the U.S. to win that competition. Space contributor Christian Davenport.
The original plan was that 2 years from now, they were going to go straight to the lunar surface and try to land the astronauts on the moon. But Jared Isaacman, the new NASA administrator, reviewed the plans and essentially said that made no sense. We need to practice first. So he has added another mission to come next year so that before the Orion spacecraft goes all the way to the moon, rendezvous with the lunar landers that would be built by Blue Origin or SpaceX, he's saying we need to practice that first. And we're going to practice it in low Earth orbit in 2027. And then that will set us up for 2 landing missions on the moon in 2028.
China's current timetable calls for a crewed lunar landing by them by 2030. Warner Brothers Discovery has agreed to be acquired by Paramount Skydance in a $110 billion deal. Correspondent Cammie McCormick.
Paramount and Warner Brothers say they expect more than $6 billion in savings driven by technology and streamlining. The deal creates one of the largest film studios in the world with 15,000 titles and popular franchises like Mission Impossible, Harry Potter, and Game of Thrones. The deal has drawn scrutiny. California is preparing what it calls a vigorous review. It's among Hollywood's biggest media shakeups.
Netflix shares surged on the news as investors cheered that company's decision to exit the bidding war. Lux Living has sold its Chelsea apartment complex in the De Bolivar Place neighborhood for $42 million, the Post-Dispatch reports. The St. Louis development firm's founders faced federal fraud charges over the property, accused of falsely claiming minority contractors performed work in order to secure city incentives. Those charges were dropped last year after the brothers agreed to repay $1 million in tax breaks they had received. The first week of February could be designated Black History Week under a new Missouri Senate bill. The legislation creates a commission that would develop curriculum materials on topics including Missouri's history with slavery. Marquette High School senior Kara McDowell testified in support of the bill in Jeff City, says when Black history has been taught in her classes, other students viewed it as taboo.
No one was eager to ask questions. No one celebrated the true beauty of my culture. There was no light for me to shine in.
Florissant Democratic Senator Angela Mosley's bill follows the same framework as the 2022 creation of a state Holocaust Awareness Commission, but has not been scheduled for a floor vote.
Look around downtown on a February workday. This looks like a place where people who are being punished are sent.
Well, happily, as February walks out the door, the sun has been out. We've been getting a hint of spring, but we have learned that WGN TV in Chicago broadcast former KMOXer Kevin Colleen's infamous February whole nother story this morning to send off the gray month. It's become a perennial reflection.
The trees that once cheered us, they're hard to look at this month. It's as if there is some awful truth out there in the trees. It's hiding in the branches. Look at them. Something that's been bothering you for a long time is out there. What is it? You can almost see the shape of it when all the color is gone, when life is stripped down to the starkness of February.
Kevin's February 2016 essay goes viral every year. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, for tonight, a clear sky, low 39. For tomorrow, sunshine, high 65. Could have some rain for Sunday. Right now, we've got 67 downtown. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Have you ever wanted to go to the NBA Finals? Of course you have. Who hasn't wanted to go? It's awesome. And now is your chance, courtesy of FanDuel. All you have to do is use your profit boost on an NBA future, and you will be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for 2. That's right, a trip for 2 to the NBA Finals. NBA Futures lets you lock in your pick for who you think is going to go all the way, whether that's the championship or conference title. You can take your pick by going to FanDuel.com/Missouri to get started. FanDuel.com/Missouri. Play your game with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA and of KMOX. Must be 21 or over and present in Missouri. No purchase necessary. Limit 1 entry. For Profit Boost token, opt-in required. Must apply Profit Boost token on select market. Restrictions apply. See full terms, including methods of entry, at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Bernie Miklasz here. Hey, I want to tell you about my friend Stuart Rosenblum. And by all means, call him Stewie. He is proud to own and operate the most customer-friendly mortgage company in St. Louis and Illinois, Stewart's American Mortgage Corporation. Stewie is really unique because, among other things, he gives you his personal cell phone number. All his customers get it, or anyone for that matter who wants to learn more about how he can help. So do this when you get a chance. Put his number on your contacts list, 314-324-4440. And you won't have to wait on hold for a customer service agent who may never actually come online to help you. But if you call Stewie, you're going to get that help and you're going to get it quickly. And the biggest difference you're going to get with Stewart's American Mortgage, you're going to pay less. That's because Stewart is the only lender to offer the famous bagel loan. It's called the bagel loan because it looks like a zero, and you pay zero in fees that other dealers charge for. And when you refinance, and it's a great time to do it, you pay no appraisal fees, no closing costs, no title fees, no broker fees, zero. And when you buy a home and take out a loan for $200,000 or more, you pay zero lender fees. They'll also, at Stewart's American Mortgage, close your loan in as little as 10 days, as opposed to 3 or 4 weeks at other places. To find out more, just Google bagel loan or call Stewie, like I said, directly at 314-324-4440.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fire Capital Management for your retirement highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, registered investment advisors. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
An important message from S&L Coins. S&L Coins pays top dollar for your gold and silver coins, old currency, gold-filled jewelry, scrap gold and silver, silver plating, gold and silver bullion. Get a quote with a call to S&L at 544-3600. S&L Coins, 544-3600. Or visit S&L Coins at 9300 Gravois, just east of McKenzie. Open 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 Saturday. Before you sell, call S&L 544-3600.
Now, a St. Louis Cardinals spring training report. Sponsored by St. Louis Composting. Composting, growing gardens, and making memories. And by Happy Roof. We always create happy endings on the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX. Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
That's Bernie Miklasz. I'm Matt Pauley. I am in Florida at Cardinals spring training. And Bernie, our spring training report today, I don't know if you heard, J.J. Weatherholt hit the ball really, really hard.
I was excited to hear it. I was excited to look at the replay. I'm sorry I missed it live today listening. I had many things to do today, and as usual, gets very distracted. I think J.J. Weatherholt is having a really good camp. Now, I heard from some people say, well, you know, he's hitting 167. Yeah, but what he's been doing is basically auditioning to be the Cardinals leadoff man. He's drawn 4 walks. The quality of his at-bats, which he's always had, but really, really impressive. It's almost like he's telling pitchers, no. I'm not going to chase this junk. Come on, give me some credit. I'm not going after that garbage you're throwing up here. If you're going to walk me. So he's drawn 4 walks. You know, he hit a bomb today. So for the spring, I love the walks. I love all the walks. I love the 500 on base percentage. I love the plate approach. I love the plate discipline. And it's good to see the power. When we had Jonathan Mayo on the other day, me and Ron on Gas House Gang, Jonathan Mayo of MLB Pipeline, he said he was confident that J.J. Weatherholt not only has power, but it'll come. Like, in other words, he was basically saying, hey, don't assume that he won't hit for much power. He's got it. And I think he's smart enough to trigger it when he has to. So you were there, but I'm so excited. I'm talking about it a lot. So I'll shut up and then you go for it.
I liked what Ali said after the game, because he said the really cool thing about JJ's power is he's not going to have to sacrifice average for the power. And that's a dangerous hitter. When you've got a guy who can hit for average and hit for power, that's where it comes together. And that's why we get so excited about a JJ Weatherholt, because he can do things that really only the most elite hitters in baseball do.
He does. And this is a guy, I don't care if it's minor leagues or not. It's irrelevant. You either have a great plate approach and a great plan when you hit, and you understand what pitchers are trying to do, and you adjust on the fly. I don't care what league that is. I mean, last year, JJ Weatherholt had as many walks as strikeouts. Yeah, that's rare. You don't find that, especially with a guy that hadn't been in the minor leagues that long. He sets up his at bats where the pitcher's going to have to deal with JJ's terms. Like the pitcher's not going to be in control because JJ's not going to chase a lot of stuff and be out of the zone and always be 0-2, 1-2, swinging at pitches that he can't drive or that he can't put in play with authority. JJ's going to have most of his at-bats on his terms. And that is a great quality to have, especially for a young hitter. And it's a great quality to have, let's face it, where other Cardinal prospects obviously have struggled in that area. They've struggled mightily. JJ is so polished. It's exciting. Every Cardinals fan should be excited about him.
I'm going to be a very unrefined broadcaster right now. John Camp, do we need to do traffic here? Or did we already do traffic before? We do. Okay. We got to do traffic. Let's get to Roger Burns.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
No, Matt, we still have a little bit of a jam up. They're still trying to clear this crash on eastbound 70 at Earth City. Right lane's blocked, so eastbound Highway 70 is backed up to about 5th Street right now. They're making progress, but it's still a jam most of the way through there. And it impacted 270, South 270. The ramp lanes getting onto 70 are bogged down at the Rock Road. Northbound, they're all the way back at Dorset. South 270 is a lot better. It's just a little slow approaching Gravois. South 170, Brentwood to 64 is heavy. Eastbound 64 is slow from 170 to Big Bend. Westbound 64, the Science Center out through Bellevue is heavy. And then it's backed up from the Boulevard out to 70. Eastbound 64, a little backup at Clarkson. We had an incident they cleared just east of there. Westbound 44 passing 270 to Soccer Park's a little slow. And on the Illinois side, eastbound 64, 157 midway to 159, and westbound 64, a brief backup through with 159. They took care of that car fire westbound 70 west of Greenville. Lanes westbound are reopened and traffic's back to normal. I'm Roger Brand at the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
All right, Roger, thank you. It is Redbird Rush Hour. This is my life right now when it's spring training, Bernie. I can't remember what happened 3 minutes ago. I had no recollection if Roger did a traffic report before we came back in. And that says nothing about Roger's amazing traffic reporting. It has everything to do with my brain has absolutely no ability to retain information right now.
Well, I know you don't want, people to, suggest we have a medal ceremony or something. Okay. You're a humble dude. And you believe in hard work. You don't feel the need to be patted on the back, but dude, you work your tail off. I mean, and you're doing it at all hours. I don't know how you do it. If I were doing what you're doing down there, I would be, what's the word? Catatonic most of the time, right? I'd be walking around not knowing where I am or who I am. So yeah, you're actually doing a great job of showing demonstrating your endurance in these marathon days.
It's fun. And we're watching baseball every day, which is cool. We were talking, this gets brought up a lot, and I don't always want to respond to it because I'm sure there's people who hear the response and like, oh, I know we're going to go on this. But we were talking velocity to open up the show because today Dustin May was touching maybe 98, 99 in a simulated game on the backfields. Richard Fitz the other day was pumping 98, sitting 97. And we got a text message that says, who cares how fast these pitchers threw? No. Jordan Hicks threw faster, and where he's at now. And it's just I understand the group of people who don't think we talk velocity too often. I'm not trying to be dismissive of their thoughts, but this is a really simple thing. This is a math problem. This is a fact and fiction problem. This is a black and white issue. There is hard data on this, and just pulling out a random dude that happens to throw hard who maybe doesn't have great numbers is not the way that you argue this. There is a very linear line that you can compare velocity versus ERA. So basically, if you take all the four-seam fastballs that are thrown in Major League Baseball at like 88 miles per hour, there's a 6 ERA on 88 mile per hour fastballs. And if you take every single four-seam fastball that's thrown at 99 miles per hour, there's about a 2 ERA on those fastballs. And literally the line just goes straight down. Faster pitch, lower ERA. You cannot argue against this. If you argue against it, you're saying the earth is flat. That's how easy it is to talk through this. That doesn't mean that every dude that throws 100 is going to be a Major League All-Star. But in aggregate, velocity matters more than some people want to give it credit for mattering.
Well, you're right. And what I like about that, I always get a kick out of people who will to make what they think is some like great closing argument. I'm going to make the case and I'm going to shut the other side down on this. Here's my closing argument. What they'll do is they'll pick out one guy that's an example of what they're saying, as if that one guy represents all pitchers. Well, Jordan Hicks throws 103. He wasn't as good as all of you people said he was. Okay, that's one example. Did you like Trevor Rosenthal back in the day, throwing 99? Greatest postseason reliever in the Cardinals history. That's a fact. Did you like Kevin Segras for example, that way? How about when Chris Carpenter was throwing nasty high velocity sliders? Did you like that? I liked it. I mean, I could go right down a list. I could, if I had time right now, and I don't, I could go to I have a database I can go to, and I can look at. There's a way to explain this. It's called Fastball Plus, Fastball Stuff Plus, and it's basically a rating of how effective guys' fastball is. So if I would go to that top 10 list right now or top 20 list right now, guys who have the fastball velo and the fastball stuff, that top 20 would be loaded with guys that we all view collectively as some of the very best starting pitchers in the game. But no, somebody doesn't like to hear about velocity. And so it's like, oh, well, okay, Jordan Hicks was overrated because he threw hard, but he wasn't very good. So that settles it. That's the end, right?
By the way, if Jordan Hicks wouldn't have tried to futz around with starting, he might be a high-end closer right now.
That's right.
That's
saying.
right.
That's Bernie Miklasz. Listen, hitters can hit high velo stuff, but real quick, we talked about this the other night. That's why it's important to spin the ball. You got to have great breaking stuff. You got to have off-speed stuff. The new regime is making sure that there's more in these arsenals of these Cardinals pitchers who throw hard. People are on it. People are on top of it. It's going to be okay. It'll be okay. Nothing to worry about.
It will be okay. I agree. Back with more in just a moment on KMOX.
Create the ultimate raised bed garden with St. Louis Composting. Our premium compost and soil mixes are perfect for filling the raised beds you'll enjoy building, and even better for growing fresh, homegrown veggies. Imagine harvesting your own tomatoes, peppers, and cilantro for fresh salsa the whole family can enjoy. And with delivery right to your door, getting started has never been easier. Visit stlcompost.com to order a convenient delivery from your phone in seconds, or stop by one of our 9 locations in the St. Louis area. St. Louis Composting, growing gardens and making memories.
Did you see the forecast? Another huge storm is tracking right for us.
I saw. Honestly, I'm not worried.
Not worried. Your roof is older than mine.
I called Happy Roof. They did a pre-storm inspection, caught a loose flashing that would have caused a major leak.
Wow, I really need that peace of mind.
Protect your happy place before the rain starts.
Booking my free inspection at thehappyroof.com or call 314-897-2310. It's all about the happy ending.
Traffic.
Hey, Bernie Miklasz here for my friends at Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin Comfort dealer. We've been calling Saliga for about 18, 19 years for help with our air conditioning heat. And the thing of it is, I've always said, nobody ever wants to have to call someone because your heating's not working, your air conditioning's not working, and you're like, oh man, what are we going to do? What's this going to cost me? The thing is, that's what's so great about Saliga Heating and Cooling, because Mrs. Bernie and I have learned it's like, well, if something bad happens, you got to deal with it. Thank goodness we have Saliga Heating and Cooling we can call, because they'll take care of it. They'll be here ASAP. They'll fix it. They'll solve it. They're not going to try to hustle us. They're not going to try to talk us into something we don't need. They'll look for the low-cost solution. If there's one there that they can save us money on, they'll do that. It's a great family business that has been taking care of St. Louis family since 1927, continuously since 1927. So Dad Saliga is a fourth generation owner operator of this family business that's now in its 100th year of taking care of other St. Louis families. So you can rely on that track record. You can trust them. We do. We respect them to the max. And if you deal with them, if you call them, I'm sure you will too. So find out everything you need about Saliga Heating and Cooling just by going to their site, SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. Thank you.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, they did clear that crash completely eastbound 70 at 141. Traffic's still slow from the Blanchette Bridge most of the way into 270. Westbound's a little slow coming off those 270 ramps. Otherwise, it's okay in the area there. It's still kind of slow from A to Z in Wentzville after that. Westbound 64, the Science Center out through McCausland, that's still heavy. Still a jam. About midway between Lake St. Louis Boulevard and Prospect out to Highway 70. Eastbound 64, a little heavy between Hanley and Big Bend. South 55 is cleared out. South 270 looks great. Still have roadwork delays. Eastbound 64, minimal. Just a brief slowdown east of 157. Westbound, though, 159 midway to 157 is still heavy. I'm Roger Brand at the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Just about 3 minutes left on this edition of the program. Please don't go anywhere, though. We've got a full 2 hours of Sports Open Line coming up tonight from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. And then after that, we've got our Gas House Gang replay from 8 to 9, which is going to be Chris Ranji, Mike Claiborne, and myself. You're getting 4 straight hours of me. I am so sorry. But go ahead and get rid of just ignore that part of it and don't go anywhere, as we've got you covered here on KMOX. Real quick, because Ali talked about this a bit, and I think we've kind of circled this today, Bernie.
Mm-hmm.
Ali went on today about how you've really got to be careful in how you use spring training stats. And I know there's going to be some fans that maybe push back on this, but if somebody's putting up good numbers, they want to go look at the underlying numbers and see if it's legit. If somebody's putting up bad numbers, they want to go see if it's just a small sample size or if there's actually something going on that needs to be fixed. And Ali made the point that when you're facing teams that are not game planning for you, like nobody's going to send Jordan Walker a low and away slider because you can get him with that. You're working on your own stuff. It's just a reminder to fans, take the stats that you see over the next month. We're now less than a month from opening day. Take those with a grain of salt and know that there is better data and better information than can be used that can really help evaluate players.
Hey, that's good for everybody to remember, including us. And then, of course, fans. I'll try to give a short answer here. I've always been someone who said, like, let's not get carried away by spring training stats, whether they're good or bad. Recognizing all the variables that go into those numbers and the fact some teams are locked in, some teams aren't. Pitchers are just trying to get loose. They're trying to work on all their stuff and all that stuff. That you don't know who half the batters are in spring training games. But I've always made exceptions in terms, because I want to see trends. Like, in other words, you got a Walker or a Gorman, you want to see trends. You want to see them, even if it's spring training, start to reverse some of the stuff that's been just killing them at the major league level. I think it's important to see that stuff. It doesn't mean they'll be great in the regular season, but it's important to see some evidence that they know what to do to fix it. Same with pitchers that are working with new pitches, and trying to find different ways to get hitters out. Maybe Rob Cerfolio and Matt Pierpont and Dusty Blake, they've added some stuff and removed some stuff from an individual pitcher's arsenal. So you want to see how the new pitch is playing. I think it's okay to pull that kind of stuff out, but no,
I think that's different than stats. I think
right.
Recognizing that Nolan Gorman hit a home run to left center is different than looking at Nolan Gorman's batting average.
Right. And I gave the example earlier, real quick, just to recap. I don't care that JJ Weatherholt's hitting 167. I had a couple fans tell me, like, what are you guys are all hollering about him like he's, Babe Ruth or something. 167. I don't care about that. His at-bats have been exquisite, and he's walked 4 times, and he's got a 500 on base percentage. In other words, that shouts very loudly.
Yeah.
Great at-bats. He's taking great at-bats. That matters. I don't care where you take him, spring training or in the major leagues.
Bernie, have a great weekend.
See you, brother. Thank you.
Sports Open Line on the way next here on KMOX.
Rhino Shield is engineered to outlast paint by a lot, backed with our 25-year transferable warranty. Paint a house, shield a home. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, steel. We are the only coating company selected by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where all 3 episodes concentrate on unpainted brick. If you maintain or own a business with a tired-looking building, you owe it to yourself to look at Rhino Shield and our beautifully durable color schemes. Evaluations are free. We're making buildings pop and be noticed again, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks, exceeding expectations every day with our products, people, and performance. Now is the time to call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or go to 877-25rhino.com and see how honest and transparent we really are. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Presenting a Gain Flings love story. Dear love of my life, we were on the 12B bus this morning when I caught a whiff. A scent so fresh, so life-changing, I had to find its source. Alas, I didn't know if you were the woman in the pink freshly washed cardigan or the retired mailman next to me, but I knew one of you was my soulmate. Ah, the scent of Gain Flings. Try Gain Flings with OxyBoost and Febreze.
At LendSeek, we know running a business takes heart, hustle, and sometimes a little help. That's why we stand with you with our exclusive AI lending platform, connecting you to over 100 funders. If you've been in business for at least 2 years with a minimum annual revenue of $500,000, you can get up to $1 million in funding in as fast as 24 hours. No collateral, no prepayment penalties, no red tape. Apply today with no cost or obligation at lendseek.com. That's LENDSEEK.com.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
St. Louis, get ready. One of the most powerful voices in country music is coming to the Dome at America Center on March 7th. Zach Bryan, live in concert.
It'll be fun about those clouds, I'm telling you, baby.
With the songs you know by heart.
You can see now.
One night, one stage, an unforgettable night of raw, honest music. Tickets available now at Ticketmaster.com. For more information, KMOX.com/events.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, traffic on the highways is winding down pretty nicely. Friday nights usually start hectic and end quietly, and it's really not that bad right now. We still have some slow traffic, though. Eastbound 70, approaching our city into 270 from the earlier crash we had there at 141. It's been cleared for, a good 10, 15 minutes at least. On Highway 64 westbound, it's still slow. Hampton out to about McCausland, and west of Lake St. Louis Boulevard, it's slow through Prospect. So about midway out between those 2 points. Eastbound 64, 170 to Big Bend, you still got some heavy traffic. On the Illinois side, it's only westbound 64 now, just a little slow through 159. Just a little heads up, don't forget tonight from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. tomorrow morning, all lanes of southbound 55 between Highway M and Highway Z are going to be shut down for road work. You're going to have to get off at 61, 67 and take that south from M down to Z to rejoin the interstate. I'm Roger Brand at the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Hear me out on this. Let's say, for the sake of argument, you do have a wife or a significant other. Yeah. There's just a huge problem in your life. And then you win a giant jackpot. Don't you feel like this is your opportunity to just leave town?
You're not going to file papers because now you're going to be legally bound to this lady.
That's what you get the lawyer for.
You're not even married and you're fantasizing about leaving your wife.
The Chris and Amy Show, weekdays starting at 9 on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. Neil Sedaka wrote and sang dozens of hits of the 1960s and 70s, including this song, a lament to his high school sweetheart, Carole King.
Darling, there will never be another.
Neil Sedaka's family says that they're devastated by his sudden passing today. The Brooklyn-born native had hits including Breaking Up Is Hard to Do and Calendar Girl. Elvis, Frank Sinatra, and the Captain and Tennille were among those who covered his songs. He said of songwriting,
what makes it a hit? There are various notes that go with various chords, and if the sentiment is right, it gives you that in the groin, in the heart, you get those chills.
Neil Sedaka was 86. Former President Bill Clinton has testified that he did nothing wrong as he faces questions today from congressional lawmakers about his relationship with the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. CBS's Torian Small also reports.
In a prepared opening statement, Clinton said, as someone who grew up in a home with domestic abuse, not only would I not have flown on his plane if I had any inkling of what he was doing, I would have turned him in myself and led the call for justice for his crimes, not sweetheart deals.
U.S. and Iranian mediators are set for another round of negotiations over the country's nuclear program next week. Now, CBS's Charlie D'Agata has more on this and the urge to get American citizens out of the region.
The U.S. Embassy here in Israel, they issued a security alert calling for the departure of non-emergency U.S. government personnel and their family members to leave the country, kind of granting that green light due to safety risks.
A federal judge has extended his order protecting refugees in Minnesota who are lawfully in the U.S. from being arrested and deported. President Trump has told the federal government to immediately stop using technology from the artificial intelligence company Anthropic. CBS's Linda Kenyon with the latest.
The president posted on social media, quote, "We don't need it, we don't want it, and will not do business with them again," unquote. He was responding after the AI startup rejected the Pentagon's demands that it agree to an unconditional military use of an AI model known as Claude. Anthropic said it did not want its technology to be used for mass surveillance of U.S. citizens or used in fully autonomous weapon systems.
Scouting America has agreed to make changes to keep the U.S. military support. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth.
This includes reviewing and replacing politicized, divisive, and discriminatory language throughout the organization, programs, and all publications. No more DEI, zero.
This is CBS News.
Every Sunday, moderator Margaret Brennan goes face-to-face with top leaders to make you better informed. Face the Nation, Sunday on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-265-7681. 800-265-7681. You have nothing to lose, but everything to gain. 800-265-7681.
At 6:04, we've got 67 degrees downtown at the Arch. A bill that's been proposed several years in a row is back again. It would let people with concealed carry training bring a firearm onto Missouri's public transit. It's sponsored by Republican Senator Adam Schnelting of St. Charles, who says American citizens have a right to self-defense.
In Missouri, in a way, we actually strip it from them the moment they enter to a bus terminal or a tram, and that shouldn't be. We pay tax dollars for some of these transportation systems, and some of these systems are dangerous, and they do carry reputations for violent crime like rapes, murder, and assault.
Mike Winter with the Missouri Public Transit Association says they don't believe allowing concealed carry permit holders to bring firearms into public transit would improve safety.
Keep in mind, these are closed environments, either a bus or a train, with limited access and ability to get out if someone were to bring a weapon onto one of our modes of transportation and decide to use it.
The bill would also let Missouri's Attorney General and her staff legally carry a weapon as part of their job. A pair of legislative bills filed to regulate artificial intelligence in data centers.
State Representatives Colin Wellenkamp and Mike Koslow are sponsoring identical bills that would promote AI-driven economic growth while preventing major water and electricity users from driving up costs for residents. Their plan would require permits for large industrial water users. Wellenkamp says anyone exceeding a certain amount of usage would be required to expand the system. Neither bill has been scheduled for House committee hearings yet. Elisa Nelson, Missouri Net.
A St. Louis apartment complex at the center of a dropped federal fraud case has been sold. Florida-based Raya Capital Management bought the Chelsea Apartments on Pershing Avenue for $42 million, according to the Post-Dispatch. The property's former owners, Lux Living founders Victor Alston and Sid Chakraverty, were indicted in 2024 on charges they falsified minority hiring records to obtain city tax breaks, but the case was dismissed last year. Roger Brand at the traffic center with the latest.
Well, the highways are wrapping up in pretty decent shape, Michael. It's pretty easy going on the area roadways. The only delays we have is going to be on the run eastbound 64 through the Interbelt. It's just a little heavy there. South 170 really not even at the Club Tower. Westbound 64, Clayton, Skinker, McCausland area is a little slow. It's slow on the ramp from westbound 64 onto westbound 70, but that's all we got in the Westplex. Other than that, just a little slowdown westbound 64 through 159. Just don't forget tonight at 11 p.m., they're going to shut down the southbound lanes of 55 between M and Z to pour a new bridge deck over the Burlington Northern Railroad overpass. It's going to be closed from 11 to 5 tomorrow morning. Get off at Highway M, go east to 6167, take that south to Z, and then get back over westbound 55 and continue on from there. I'm Roger Brand in the Michael's Flooring Outlet.com Traffic Center.
A pretty nice evening across St. Louis for this time of year. Clear and chilly overnight, 39 degrees. Saturday, mild again, partly sunny skies. Enjoy. 65 Saturday night, partly cloudy, a little breezy. It's colder. There's cold front coming through. 31 for the overnight low Saturday night. Sunday, clouds dominate. A little bit of light rain and wet snow, maybe some sleet, but it's very limited during the day on Sunday. I think we have a lot of dry time and 45 degrees. Sunday night, rain, some wet snow, and sleet. Less than an inch accumulation by Monday morning, 32. Monday, rain, sleet, and snow. First thing in the morning, going to all rain, 43. And we've got a big rain set up for Monday night, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Could be some thunderstorms around, too, so we'll keep an eye on that. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Dave Murray on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
64 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Come on, let's get going now.
From KMOX Sports.
We're primed and ready. All day, baby. Man, let's go.
This is the Gray Bar Sports Open Live. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Here we go on a Friday night. It is the final show of the week. Welcome in. It's a Gray Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. My name is Matt Pauley. I'm so happy that you chose to spend some time with us. And we've got a lot to get to. We have a jam-packed couple hours of the program tonight. In about 10 minutes, we're going to be joined by Mark Feinsand. He is somebody, he's awesome. He covers baseball nationally for MLB.com, does a great job with it. He's also part of the team at MLB Network, but Mark is amazing. With the Cardinals not having a full-time MLB.com beat writer currently, they've been actually rolling in various people on a week-by-week basis to kind of embed in with the team and cover the team for that week. And I was a little surprised when in walks Mark Feinsand. So he's generally a guy who does a lot of national work, but he was embedded with the Cardinals this week, and he wrote some really, really good stuff. And I interviewed him earlier today, so I'll play back that interview for you coming up in just a while. But was excited to be able to talk to him and but really enjoying all of his work. So Mark Feinsand's going to join us in about 10 minutes or so. We're going to do mostly Cardinals. We're going to do all Cardinals. We have an 8-segment show. I'll just tell you, Well, let's break it down by fractions, right? 75% of our show, 6 of our 8 segments today will be Cardinals related. But we will talk some City SC. We're going to do that at about 6:35. One of our favorite people in the world, Jen Cease, is going to be on at 6:35. She's, of course, part of our coverage and part of the Y98 broadcast of City SC Soccer. So she's going to join us at 6:35, and we'll look ahead to what's going to be coming up this weekend as they play their second match of the year. And then in our final segment of the show, I've got scheduled some time to listen in a bit to Jim Montgomery, the Blues coach, after they came back from the Olympic. Really nice performance last night. They beat Seattle. Dylan Holloway had a hat trick. There was some good stuff that happened. So at this point of the year where the Blues aren't really playing for anything, enjoy the moments. And last night was a good moment. So we'll talk a little Blues at the end of the show. We'll talk a little City SC this hour. And outside of that, it's all Cardinal baseball. If you have any thoughts, if you've got any questions on what's going on with the Cardinals, feel free to chime in. Multiple ways to get connected with the program. You can call or text 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. That's how you call or text. I don't think we probably have time for phone calls. I don't know when we're going to have time for phone calls, but feel free to drop in text, and we can try to get those, 314-436-7900. You can tweet at me, at Matt Pauley on air, MattPauley on air. And for those of you who are watching on the video stream, feel free to leave a comment in the chat, and we can address those as we go along. So storylines, narratives, things that are of note today. And we talked about some of these during Redbird Rush Hour with Bernie last hour, but I'll just kind of go back through some of the big stuff that I think came out of today. First off, what didn't come out of today is a good baseball game. Cardinals lose to the Mets by a 14-3 score. From a pitching standpoint, I guess the only guy that concerned me, just because I want so badly it to be good for him, was Tinkins. He gave up 3 runs, only got 2 outs. Now, to be fair on multiple levels, first off, to be fair, it's February 27th. Second off, to be fair, he looked really good in his first spring outing. And then, to be fair, number 3, like, this is a guy who I think is still going to be trying to figure out. He put on 10, 15 pounds. He changed his throwing delivery. He's been working really hard, but I don't think it's something where we can just like assume that's going to be good every night. So if it's good sometimes in spring, especially against legit hitters, well, then that's the good sign. I'm actually, and this is not me like being a cheerleader, being a rah-rah guy. I argue that in spring, the good matters more than the bad. And I probably flip that when we get into the regular season. When we get into the regular season, the bad matters more than the good a lot of times, because the bad is what takes you down. The bad is what needs to be addressed. In spring, when you take everything that happens with that proverbial grain of salt, if I see something bad, I don't get too upset about it, because I look at the calendar and I say, it's February 28th, it's March 3rd, it's March 5th. Like, what's leading to this? You know, you want to dig in a little bit on it. Sure. I'm not saying completely ignore it, but I'm not overly worried about it, especially if the underlying stuff says that there's still some good things going on. Now, when it comes to the good, that's when I get like excited about stuff, because then you can start to imagine and see a ceiling of a player and where it could potentially go to. So that's why in spring, I argue that the good matters more than the bad. So when Nolan Gorman hits the living you-know-what out of the ball and goes the other way, that's good. I'm excited about that. Let's see more of that. When JJ Weatherholt hits a home run 422 feet straight up the middle, let's see more of that. When Richard Fitz is pumping 98, let's see more of that. when Dustin May is doing the exact same thing on a backfield, let's see more of that. The good outweighs the bad during spring training. Come opening day, you flip it because all of a sudden the bad, it needs to be addressed. It needs to be addressed in a pretty quick kind of way. All right, again, Mark Feinsand is going to join us in just a few moments. Fantastic reporter, writer for MLB.com. Also does work with MLB Network. He's going to be joining us in just a few minutes. Jen Cease joining us later on this hour to talk City SC. If you want to chime in on anything we're talking about, 314-436-7900. That's how you text, or you can leave a comment on the stream if you're watching. You can tweet at me at Matt Pauley on air. Mark Feinsand joins us next. This is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line from Florida on KMOX.
Dreaming of college but worried about the cost? The Together Foundation is here to help. The Together Foundation is awarding 5 $1,500 scholarships to St. Louis area students who are ready to take the next step toward their future. Applying is simple, but time is limited, as applications will be accepted through March 31st. Learn more or apply at togethercu.org/scholarship. That's togethercu.org/scholarship. This community message has been brought to you by Together Credit Union.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan with McKelvey Homes. It's a great time to buy a brand new home, and the Reserve at Wildwood is where you want to be. Park-like setting with front porches on every home, connected trails for exploring, walk to Main Street and Wildwood Town Center, top-rated Rockwood schools, and legendary McKelvey quality you can count on, featuring James Hardy siding. Visit McKelveyHomes.com and learn what makes the Reserve so special. It's time to move up to McKelvey.
If you need a new appliance, this is your sign. Shop at Lowe's now to get up to 35% off and next-day delivery on hundreds of major appliances. A new appliance now means an easier to-do list later. Our best lineup is at Lowe's. Valid through 3/18 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. Order by 4 p.m. Available Monday through Saturday. Subject to availability. Fees, exclusions, and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/appliance delivery for more details.
That's the sound of James adding long-lasting Gain scent boosters to his laundry this morning. Several hours later, James sniffs the irresistible scent of Gain on his shirt. Gain. Several hours later, James has even caught the attention of his mother-in-law, and she never gives him attention.
Ooh, you smell amazing, James.
Oh, thanks, Mom. I love you too.
I never said that.
Add Gain scent boosters to your laundry. Add joy to your day.
When it comes to lighting, Gray Bar goes beyond parts and products. We help contractors turn plans into smart designs, manage kitting and deliverables, and navigate local codes so you can stay on time and on budget. Smart, scalable, job site ready. That's not just lighting. That's like kicking your project into Gray Bar mode. Yep, Gray Bar does that.
Don't miss the U.S. Air Force's Shades of Blue Jazz Ensemble, February 25th through March 4th. Enjoy big band swing, patriotic favorites, and more. Get free tickets and locations at afbandtix.org. That's afbandtix.org.
For residential and commercial heating repairs, service, maintenance, or installation, contact Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation. With over 50 years of HVAC service, get in your comfort zone this winter. Visit aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
Still here, still trusted. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
It's Gray Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. Very happy to be joined right now. He's been on the Cardinals beat here for the last week or so. He is an MLB.com national writer, also MLB Network insider. He is Mark Feinsand. Mark, great to see you. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Appreciate having me on.
What's this been like for you this week embedded with the Cardinals?
Well, that's the one interesting thing in my job about spring training is I end up popping into different camps, maybe for 2 or 3 days. 5 straight days with the Cardinals. I've gotten to learn more about this team than I knew coming in, certainly given how young the roster is and how many changes there have been. But, some interesting players here who I think could make this an interesting year for St. Louis. I don't know that they're going to be a contending team necessarily, but you look around and there's a feeling, at least from what I've been able to gather, that this young group believes that it can build from this, and this isn't going to be a very long, arduous rebuilding process.
Part of covering a team on an everyday basis, you get a couple media availabilities with the manager. As you've spent some time with Oliver Marmol, and I don't know how well you knew him before this week, does anything strike you about him, or do you learn anything about him?
Well, he's one of the few people in this clubhouse that I did kind of know a little bit beforehand. So really good sense of humor, really sarcastic with some of the writers, which I think is always good. Keep things light at times. But I think he understands he's got a young club here, and he's got there's a lot of evaluation going on this spring. Whereas in past springs, we were talking about guys like Nolan Arenado or Paul Goldschmidt or Wilson Contreras, et cetera. This year, you're talking about guys that he's still trying to learn about. And so I think from his standpoint, this is probably a really interesting spring because there are some players here he just hasn't seen that much of. And so he's getting an opportunity along with everybody else to see what the future might look like here.
Would encourage everybody to head over to MLB.com and read all your coverage from throughout the week. I want to touch on a few things that you've heard about. I love the quote that you got from Richard Fitz, where he admitted that he spends a lot of time thinking about the competition that he's in. A lot of guys won't say that openly.
Yeah, I mean, I thought back to my days on the Yankees beat. I covered them for 16 years, and it seemed like almost every year there was a spring competition for the number 5 spot. Mm-hmm. And we would talk to the guys who were in that competition after they pitched, and how do you think you did? Oh, I don't think about it at all. That's not beyond my control. So I only worry about what I can control. That's up to somebody else. Well, Richard Fitz was very honest. I said, how much do you allow yourself to think about it? He said, probably more than I should. But I think that's only human nature. And I think, if you're competing with 2 or 3 guys for 1 or 2 spots, you need to go out there and pitch well. The guys, Matthew Liberatore doesn't have to go out there and put up a 1 ERA this spring. If he puts out there and pitches to a 6 ERA, he's still going to start opening day, right? Richard Fitz, results matter a little bit more. So, it's a different kind of spring for guys who are competing for jobs. I know that spring stats aren't the only determining factor. Oliver Marmol told us that as much earlier today, but they know that if they go out there and put up a 6 ERA and somebody else puts up a 1, chances are that's not going to go well for you. So, it's always interesting to see how guys who are fighting for a job approach games differently than guys who aren't, who may just go out there and say, okay, today I'm working on my changeup and I'm going to throw 25 of them. I don't care if they get hit or not. I need to work on this pitch. Or if I'm a hitter, I'm working on tracking fastballs, so whatever it may be. Whereas if you're fighting for a job, results may matter a little more.
Him pumping 98 probably helps a little bit too.
Yeah, I would think so. I think I think the slowest fastball he threw was 95.9. So, for him coming off of the injury situation last year with the nerve issue, I think it was important. I mean, he said his number one goal this spring is to be healthy because he believes if he's healthy, that he's going to pitch well and win a spot in the rotation. And I think that's, for a guy who experienced injury issues for the first time in his career in 2025, it sobers you up a little bit. It makes you realize that it can all be taken away from you very quickly. And so he's been working closely with the team trainers and obviously coming out and having the first day he did, I think, give up 2 hits, both infield singles. And like you said, was pumping 97, got up to 98. Certainly an encouraging sign for both him and the Cardinals.
I enjoyed your piece about Blaze Jordan. He's such an interesting guy, going back to winning a home run derby as a 16-year-old and then coming over to the organization last year. He doesn't get added to the 40-man roster, but he still feels really desired and wanted by a Chaim Bloom-led baseball organization. Just a really interesting guy with a very interesting baseball journey, and he's not that old.
Yeah, and it's funny because I remember seeing him. I was in Cleveland when he won that high school home run derby. And you're watching him, and he's got a lot of swag, and he looks like this kid who's just going to be this, boisterous, loud, look at me kind of kid. He couldn't be any different than that. He is a very almost soft-spoken Southern boy, and it was interesting talking to him about his journey the last few years. He played pretty well in Boston at times, not in Boston, but for their system. And just never quite got the chance. He was drafted in that 2020 year where there was the shortened draft. Chaim Bloom did take him in the 3rd round. And then when the regime changed in Boston, the new regime just didn't seem to have any plans for him. The fact that he was traded back to a team that was now run or going to be run by Chaim Bloom made Jordan think, well, he saw something in me when he drafted me, and clearly he just traded for me. So he believes that I have the ability to get where I think I want to go. I don't think he's going to be on the opening day roster. I don't think, but this is a guy who will go to AAA. He did not play particularly well at AAA when he got traded last year, but he was having a really good year before that. So maybe settling in his second year or first full year in the organization will help bring the best out of him.
Mark Feinsand from MLB.com, MLB Network, continuing to join us here on KMOX. Do you think Cardinals fans should be all in and believe in what Chaim Bloom is trying to do right now?
Do they have any other choice right now? I do. And I think, when you look at, it's not going to be necessarily a one-year turnaround. I don't think you're going to go into this season and say, yep, let's go. We're going to win the Central if we're Cardinals fans. But when you look at some of the pieces, I think this is a big year for some of their young players. I mean, Nolan Gorman, it's sort of a put up or shut up kind of year, I think. But you look at JJ Weatherholt and you look at some of the other young players on this team, and you see that they have the potential for a core. And once you can get a core together, then you can build around that core. Going out and signing 2 or 3 free agents right now would be sort of a pointless exercise because they're not 2 players away from being a contender. But we've seen it in the past. We saw it with the Astros. We saw it with the Cubs. We're watching it now with some other teams. We saw the Nationals the other day, and that's a team that looks pretty far away. But when you look at a core of James Wood and Dylan Cruz and Kate Cavalli, and you're starting to say, all right, I can start to see what they're doing there. Chaim Bloom did a really good job as part of that Tampa Bay front office for a long time, and that was a team that had to build almost on the fly every year because they were never going to go out and sign the big free agent. In Boston, bit of a different situation. He got there, and the first thing he had to do was trade his best player and most popular player in Mookie Betts. So that sort of handcuffed him right from the beginning. But all the people in Boston, I'm talking about the fans who didn't like what he did there and were happy to see him go, those fans right now are saying, he left us with a pretty good farm system, and Roman Anthony and Marcelo Mayer and all these other guys who are now a part of this next core for the Red Sox. So I think give Chaim time to get the infrastructure together, to get that system built and the core put together, and then you can go out and add to it from the outside. So, yeah, I do think there should be some optimism in St. Louis.
It's the game, the tweaks that have been made, and I might not be the biggest Rob Manfred fan, but I give him credit, whether it is the pitch clock, I think the ABS system. In so many ways, it feels like some of these changes that have been made has resulted in fans being more engaged with the game. Plus, you had amazing athletes doing amazing things.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I have 2 sons, 17 and 20 years old, and they always watched baseball as my job, obviously, and so I, made them baseball fans. But the pitch clock, they both love it. And when you look at the younger generation of fans that the league is trying to bring in to create its next wave of fans in this game, things like the pitch clock, people don't have the attention spans they once did. And the pitch clock's been great. I mean, nobody wants to watch a 3.5-hour game that just drags along. I've always said, you give me a 4-hour game that's exciting the whole way through, and I'll watch for 6 hours. I don't care. But there are games that were going 3.5, 4 hours that you just, why is this game taking so long? Why is this guy stepping out of the box 6 times? Why is this pitcher stepping off the rubber 4 times? And so, when you can go out there and feel like you're going to turn on a baseball game or go to the ballpark, and that's going to be a 2-hour and 35, 2-hour and 40-minute game, whether it's a great game or not, I think that's good for the game. I think that, the rules have been good. You got the stolen base reintroduced to a lot of people with the change in the size of the bases. So, yeah, I think that the changes they've made have been great. I'm fascinated to watch how ABS plays out this year. So far in spring, it seems to be going pretty well. I've seen a few of the challenges. They don't take very long. And I think that was the concern about ABS system was, well, how much of a delay are they going to have? Because, you watch in some other sports, I mean, every time that somebody challenges something in basketball, it's like a 3-minute process where everybody's just sitting there twiddling their thumbs. Well, now you tap your head, tap your helmet, and all of a sudden, 10 seconds later, 8 seconds later, you've got the answer, and let's go back to the game. So I'll be really interested to see how that plays out this year.
Would really encourage all our listeners to get to MLB.com, read all of Mark's coverage of the Cardinals from this past week, and of course, all his national stuff that he does during the rest of the year. Mark, it's been great having you around the Cardinals this week. Thanks for taking some time.
I appreciate it. Thanks very much.
That's Mark Feinstein. We'll take a break. We've got more coming up in just a moment. It's the Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Here in St. Louis, we take pride in supporting our health and our community. That's why more and more families are turning to Neovitin multivitamins, created by a local physician and made right here in the U.S. using the highest quality domestic and international ingredients, with formulas for men, women, and adults 50. St. Louis families energized, supported, and ready for life. Find Neovitin at your local Deerbergs, Schnucks, and online at neovitin.com. Neovitin, trusted nutrition from St. Louis for St. Louis.
For 100 years, KMOX has been a part of St. Louis. Now, those moments live on, preserved, remastered, and ready to be heard again. Discover KMOX from the Archives, a podcast featuring classic audio from a century of service.
Sponsored by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original.
The KMOX from the Archives podcast, available now at KMOX100.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
February is the month of love, and this year it's time to fall in love with your home again. Imagine warmer rooms, quieter mornings, and cozier spaces you actually enjoy spending time in. At Renewal by Andersen, we don't believe all windows are created equal. Our exclusive FibreX material is stronger than vinyl, resists warping in extreme temperatures, and delivers superior insulation, helping your home stay comfortable, quiet, and energy efficient all winter long. That means fewer drafts, less outside noise, and a home that simply feels better. And because Renewal by Andersen handles everything, from custom design to professional installation, you get a seamless experience and results you'll love for years to come. Right now, for a limited time, buy one window or door and get one window or door 40% off. Plus, enjoy 18 months with no money down, no interest, and no payments. This February, give your home the upgrade it deserves. Call 877-WINDOWS or visit renewalbyandersen.com today. Renewal by Andersen. Superior products, exceptional service.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, haven't practiced in a long time, but I did plaintiff's work and defense work, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. I have a pretty good idea of who's who in the firmament of plaintiffs' attorneys. And for my money, Mark Cantor is the guy. He's a great attorney. He is a great practitioner. He's put together a great team. He was born and raised here. He lives here. He works here. He wins here. Call 314-628-ALL-9s or CantorInjuryLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based on advertising.
Ready for instant curb appeal that comes with a 25-year transferable warranty? Call Rhino Shield today. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, aluminum, steel, cedar, and more. Over the past 20 years, we've done thousands of homes, businesses, churches, schools, condos, parking garages, large metal buildings, and strip malls, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks. We do flat and sloped metal roofs to extend their lives too. Proud to be veteran-owned and manufactured in the good old USA, so we're tariff-free. We're exceeding expectations every day. Evaluations are free. A+ rated with the BBB and a lot of 5-star Google reviews. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Back at it on KMOX. It is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line. My name is Matt Pauley. Continuing to come your way from Florida, Cardinals spring training. Both games this weekend, by the way, will be right here on KMOX, which is awesome. If you have not yet partaken in the voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney and Ricky Horton calling Cardinals baseball, I don't know what you're waiting for. It just warms the heart listening to those two and Mike Claiborne and everybody involved in it. So hopefully you'll be listening to some Cardinals baseball this weekend. Next hour, we are going to be joined by Tamar Scher from Channel 4 and Matrix Midwest. I got the chance to sit down and talk with her when she was here covering the Cardinals. We'll also hear a little bit from Oliver Marmol next hour as well. Right now, we're going to take a left turn here for just a few moments because, well, it is also soccer season, and City SC, they opened up their season this past weekend. They play to a draw against Charlotte, and they are going to get back at it. They've got a Sunday matchup this weekend as they're going to take on San Diego Sunday night. Part of the broadcast team on Y98. You hear her providing coverage here on KMOX, doing an amazing job with it. She is one of our favorite people just to talk to, and happy that soccer season because we get to talk to her a lot more about what's going on. It's our friend Jen Cease. Hey, Jen, how are you?
Hey, Matt, good. How are you? And it was so funny to hear you say draw. It was like the most disappointing word you could say in that whole sentence.
I mean, it's not a loss, right?
You're right. It is 1 point, but it's not 3.
So, I mean, I think we need to compare to like when we're talking about this, because if we're talking about it 2 seasons ago where all they did was play to ties, well, then it's really disappointing. Where if we're talking about it coming out of last year, where seemingly all they did was lose games, it's a little bit of a step forward. It's all about the context of where this all sits.
That's right. Perspective is everything. But I will say, from talking with Coach Jan DeMay and some City players this week, our player profile on Y98 will be Marcel Hartl. And then Timo Baumgartl spoke to the media today. And Timo's pretty frank. He's pretty straight up German, as he tells us. And he said, he was really pleased with control in the first half. He was pleased with the defense, but the entire team knows that you have to finish on your chances. Now, I will say, I thought Charlotte's goalkeeper, Kalina, came up really big, almost Roman Berkey-esque, kind of like when he was making some of those saves. But there were definitely some ones that you expect your guys up front to finish and make that a different kind of game you're playing. So, yeah, absolutely. It's a great start. Good to get a point. Now we head into San Diego, where they're a completely different team, and it's going to be a whole lot harder.
Okay, so for folks who have maybe been watching City for these last couple of years under Luch Pfannenstiel, even with the various coaches they went through, there were some basic principles that were in place. I know it's only one matchup, but you see them in training, you see them in other ways. In what ways, under a new sporting director and under another new head coach, in what ways do you feel like the style, what they do, is maybe different than what they have done previously?
Yeah, I think that's a fair question. And not only do you hear it in the words that they use, but I also feel like we do have a chance to see that at training and at the one game that we were able to have. Now, under Luch Pfannenstiel, and let's talk about Bradley Cardell, who opened it up with the club, it was very much, we've said it before on the show, Gegenpressen. It's the high press, go crazy on offense style. We don't really care about turnovers. We don't really want the ball. We're just going to steal it and put it in the back of the net. And if we do that a number of times, then it really doesn't matter if we get a shutout. It really doesn't matter if you score on us because we scored more than you. Now, that worked for City's first year, but teams started to figure out that City wasn't that great on the ball. So they started to sit back and say, okay, great. Why don't you go ahead and have the ball? And City was like, oh, that's not what we do. We steal the ball from you. And it really didn't work out in the second season. It wasn't replicated. It's really much the New York Red Bull style. It's the Gegenpressing style. What I see different now is Johan DeMay has made it very clear that, yes, we want to be a pressing team. Yes, we want to put a lot of pressure on their defense, but we also want to be very deliberate on how we defend turnovers, on what everybody's expectation is when you give up the ball, because you're going to give up the ball eventually. And what does everybody do? Everybody has a role. Everybody is supposed to fit in the structure. I did challenge him at one point in time before the season even started. I just said, hey, where does your structure meet the creativity that we all love on the soccer side? And he said, structure first, and then players can express themselves as they so choose within that structure. So that really means play your role, do the job I expect you to do, and then if you see something, go get it. But I still expect you, let's say somebody goes forward and finds an opening in the attack. If you're a defender, maybe you're a defensive center mid, then you are supposed to also get back on defense. So you still have a role to play. So I just see it as being more structural and more intentional and having more of a game plan than in City's first 3 years.
Okay, so you know a lot more about soccer than I do, so you probably asked the question a lot better than I did. But I asked, we had Sasha Kleston from Apple on earlier in this week, and one of the questions I asked him was, can this team be a team that focuses on possession while still taking opportunities to be athletic and fast when you get that opportunity? Are what you just talked about and that idea, are those two things kind of connected to each other?
Yeah, they are. And that actually is a great question because I don't know what Sasha said, but I was actually surprised to see in the first game how much better on the ball that City was than I thought they were going to be. It just hasn't been a City strength for the past 3 years. The guys weren't recruited for that. They weren't recruited to hold the ball, possess the ball, have a lot of moves and do those kinds of things. So to have Yohan DeMay come in and really have, I think he said like 80% of his roster is what he inherited, and be able to work on those things and see players better on the ball than I had seen them before. Of course, the injection of some new players is a good thing. I think it is a good thing. You do have to be able to, not every team is built to go forward aggressively and sit and hold the ball and move the ball around. And when you can get both of them, I think you can really be a power player. City's only had one game, and we're going to have to see them do it against a team like San Diego that, by the way, likes to play like City. They're not going to be Charlotte. They're not going to sit back and say, we'll absorb pressure, you can come at us and we'll defend it out. San Diego is going to try to take the first and probably try to go down and make the first attack. They're very, very aggressive, and it's worked out for them in their first 3 games so far.
We're talking with Jen Cease. You're able to hear her on City Broadcast on Y98. She's got the City podcast, which is a show here on KMOX. She's all over KMOX. The coverage that you hear, whether it's sound bites or whatever, it's pretty much all collected by Jen because she's awesome and does a great job covering the team. Jen, from a roster standpoint, over the last week plus, we've seen them extend the contract to Simon Betcher. We've seen them extend a contract to Chris Durkin. They went out and got Sergio Cordova on loan from a Swiss club. When you see these moves coming in, what maybe strikes you about any of them?
Well, when you look at them differently, you look at also their style of play. So if you look at the guys who made an appearance in the first game, Daniel Edelman, I thought, had an excellent game. And he told me in his pre-media day, preseason, that, at New York Red Bull, that's what he trained under. He trained under the style that he started in. He was really mostly a bust him up in the middle, almost like Chris Durkin-like in terms of how he played. But he said, I have a lot more in me. There's a lot more I can do. And we sure saw it in the first game. So that was fun. Rafael Santos did a great job. So I thought that the new guys already have injected just some of their own style. We've got some more speed on the club. When you look at Sergio Cordova, I think that's what you're looking at when people said, when we lost Joao Klaus, and people were like, what are we doing? We haven't gotten a 1-for-1 replacement. I think Sergio is as close as you're going to get right now in terms of he's a big guy. He's 6'2". He's strong. So he's got power. He's got pace. He's pretty quick. Probably faster than Klaus was. So his injection of some more speed and toughness on the front line, he can hold guys off his back. So I think you're seeing some of that and a little bit of upgrade with speed. It was something that the team talked about last year, wanting some more speed in general. I will be interested to watch Mbake also perform on the pitch if he gets on. He's been in training. According to Yohan DeMay, he's got to work for his minutes just like anybody else. But you start to see a little bit of a higher bar in terms of quality athlete and then quality touch on the ball.
You alluded to it at the beginning of our conversation, but let's dive in on it a little bit more. They're going to match up against San Diego coming up on Sunday night on the road. How different is San Diego from Charlotte? And as you kind of break down this game, what are some of the things that City needs to make sure that they do to have a chance?
Oh, man. So San Diego, they're that team that they've had 2 CONCACAF Champions Cup games and an MLS game just like everybody else did. So they've got 3 games where they have been able to find form. And I think in those 3 games, they've scored 9 goals. This is a team that is not afraid. I think they got 4 on Montreal. They're not afraid to put it in the back of the net. They're not afraid to throw everything forward and just really come at you. Now they're going to get to do it at Snapdragon Stadium in front of their home crowd, which is a pretty raucous crowd. So they're going to have all that momentum. And City's going to have to say, does our style, which is really similar to your style, can we do it better than you can? Can we control the tempo and the pace of the game better than you can? So sometimes when you face a Charlotte, where they're going to sit back and kind of let you play your game, then you can go ahead and dictate a little bit more. But now can you do it when the other team wants to play just like you and wants the ball just as much as you do? It was an odd statistic to get from Dale Schilly, our analyst. He talks to you sometimes at halftime, and I think City's possession in the Charlotte game was 52%. That's pretty high for City in terms of the history of the club. So it'll be interesting to see, are these 2 teams going to fight over who wants the ball more? And when they do have those moments to capitalize, and City have what San Diego has already proven that they can do, and that's finish.
Do you do the thing where you kind of compare the two organizations, because even though City's a little bit older, they're both the two most recent franchise clubs or expansion clubs, I should say?
I mean, they're the babies of the MLS, right? They're the two newest clubs in town. Both of them started out with crazy good first years. Now we know what happened with City, right? Kind of took a slow dive for a bit, rebuilding. It'll be interesting to see what San Diego does. Can they keep their momentum from last year where they really ruffled a lot of feathers with teams in the MLS? Like, here's another expansion team killing it in their first year. Can they do it in their second? So far, their first 3 games, they're telling everybody they can.
Yeah, they absolutely are. So let's see, what is that? I'm trying to do math because everything is Eastern time right now. What's the broadcast time coming up on Sunday over on Y98?
Yeah. So because it's a game that's also airing on Fox, it'll be on Apple and it'll be on Fox. It's going to be a 7:45. It's an 8:15 start, so it's a 7:45 start on Y98, which will be, 5:45 in California. It's going to be a lot later for us in St. Louis, but we'll have everything for you on Y98 at 7:45.
Do all of your kids get to stay? Are there any kids that have to go to bed? Or are they all? It's a Sunday night. Are they allowed to watch the whole thing?
Well, if they truly watch, there's probably only one dedicated watcher who legit is not just trying to stay up late. So the other ones, if they don't watch enough, they got to go to bed.
Okay, fair enough. That's good to know. Jen, great to talk to you. We're going to do this a bunch all season long. If you're good with that, want to make sure that we get you here on Sports Open Line Talking City a lot. So we appreciate your coverage of the team. And we'll check back in very, very soon.
You got it. Thanks, Matt.
Awesome. Very good. That's Jen Cease joining us on the program. So we're mostly Cardinals now from here on out. We'll talk a little Blues in our final segment of the show, listening into Jim Montgomery, but we are mostly Cardinals from here until the end of the show. And we're happy to be able to do that. If you've got any comments or anything, feel free to get them in here at 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. That's how you call. That's how you text. You can tweet at me at Matt Pauley on air, MattPauley on air. We'll continue on in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. You're locked to a Grey Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
In a world of change, music captures the journey of the human spirit. Join the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra for Bernstein and Robertson, American Reflections, March 6th and 7th. Conductor David Robertson returns to Powell Hall to present works by 4 American luminaries, including Leonard Bernstein's Symphony No. 2 and Robertson's own piano concerto, March 6th and 7th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
Is your furnace on its last legs? Don't wait for a cold night to find out. Jerry Kelly and KMOX are giving you the chance to win a brand new furnace this winter season. Just go online to KMOX.com/contest through March 1st and nominate someone who you think deserves a brand new furnace. Sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning. Win a brand new furnace. For more information and contest rules, just head to KMOX.com/contests.
Baseball is all about stepping up to the plate when it matters most. And when you've been injured, you need a heavy hitter in your corner. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm, proud sponsor of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FRESH to get an extra 35 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
Just a few minutes left here in hour number 1 of the program. In hour number 2, we're going to talk with our good friend Tamar Scher from Channel 4 and Matrix Midwest. We're going to hear our daily audio with Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol. We'll do a little Blues talk as well next hour, listening into Jim Montgomery. If you've got a comment, now would be the time to get in here. You can text into the program at 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. You can also leave a comment on the video stream for those of you who are watching, or you can tweet at me at Matt Pauley on air, MattPauley on air, and we'll try to get to some of those comments here in this final segment of hour number 1. When I'm not 100% sure of something, I always tell you that I'm not 100% sure of something. I'm not always successful, but I try my best not to be just completely incorrect when I think I'm right about something. I try to keep the foot out of the mouth as much as possible. So I am not like super into jerseys and the business of sports uniforms and things like that. But Nathan sends us a message and says, is there any scoop on why the birds on the bat are still patched onto the jerseys and not chain stitched? I thought Major League Baseball was returning to the old uniforms this season. Okay, so here's what I know, and I can do a little bit more looking into this for sure, but I think I have this right. Because I think it was 2 years ago, actually, that I don't think it was last spring training. I think it was 2 spring trainings ago when Fanatics took over the uniforms. It was terrible, just terrible. The pants were see-through. The whites were different on the jersey tops and the pants. It was terrible. And they did say that they were going to revert back to the previous jersey, the previous type things. But I think they were talking about the actual material, not the way logos and things like that are being put on. Now, the birds on the bat is still stitched. What I need to figure out is sometimes you stitch directly onto the jersey. Sometimes you stitch on basically to a patch, and then you go in. Like when Fanatics first came in, I understand they basically wanted to screen print the birds on the bat, like they screen print essentially a lot of the logos on jerseys. And from what I understand, to their credit, it was the DeWitts that stepped in and said, we are not going to have screen printed jerseys. So I'm not big into the jersey stuff. It's not something I'm super interested in, but I didn't want to ignore the question. I know a lot of people really care about it, and rightfully so. It's a big deal to many people, and I think it should be a big deal to people who really care about it. So I know for a fact there is still stitching, how the stitching works. Like the thing that actually bugs me about the Cardinals uniform more than any, and I don't care about the sponsor patches. I do not care about the sponsor patches as long as they look good. That's the world we live in. The thing that actually, so Stiefel, great supporter of Cardinals baseball, great St. Louis company. The thing that actually bugs me about the Stiefel patch is not the fact that it's a Stiefel patch. It's the fact that Stiefel is on a patch, and that patch's white is just a little bit off of what the white is on the jersey. So when you see it, you can basically like see the square that Stiefel is on that is then on the jersey. And I asked about it I think I asked Jeff Jones from the Belleville News Democrat, because he is somebody who's like all in on jersey stuff and uniform stuff. He's the guy to ask these questions to. I asked him, like, why can't they just stitch this right on so you don't have that, like, just that off color a little bit around Stiefel? He gave me an answer. I don't remember what the answer was. So that's the only thing that actually bugs me. I don't care about the jersey patches or anything like that. But I do know there's stitching, and I do know very much it is the DeWitt stepped in and made sure that it wasn't like a screen printed type situation. So Wade sent in a text message. Wade in Iowa, thanks for listening in, says he is wondering what the next step is for Dustin May after today's simulated game. We asked Ali that, and he said he would tell us tomorrow morning. So they have a plan. I think, he had his simulated game, and then the actual Grapefruit League game was shortly thereafter. Ali is very good about not telling us stuff before the interested parties are told what's going on. So if I were to guess, I think May's next thing will be a 2-inning Grapefruit League game appearance. I think that's what's going to happen. And it's going to happen at some point in the next week or so. Let's see. So it's Friday today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe it happens next Thursday or Friday. Maybe it happens even next Saturday. Next Saturday seems like a way it's out. But I would guess that, but there is a chance that he could possibly do one more simulated game before pitching in a Grapefruit League game. But I don't think that's going to be the case. We'll find out tomorrow. So be tuned in to KMOX. Follow along with what we've got going on. We'll have the broadcast tomorrow, but that is going to be revealed. Ali did say they have the plan set, but they just need to talk to Dustin first and then go from there. We're gonna play a bunch of Oliver Marmol audio at about 7:30, 7:35, somewhere in there. There's a lot of talk about Dustin May, so I would encourage you, Wade, and everybody else listening in. If you kind of want to understand the path that they're going forward with May, we'll get a little bit more insight into that when we listen into Ali coming up in just a while. We'll also have Tamar Scher in the second hour of the program. Don't go anywhere. We are broadcasting from Jupiter, Florida. This is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line, and we've got more coming up in just a moment right here on KMOX.
Have you ever wanted to go to the NBA Finals? Of course you have. Who hasn't wanted to go? It's awesome, and now is your chance. Courtesy of FanDuel. All you have to do is use your profit boost on an NBA future, and you will be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for 2. That's right, a trip for 2 to the NBA Finals. NBA futures let you lock in your pick for who you think is going to go all the way, whether that's the championship or conference title. You can take your pick by going to FanDuel.com/Missouri to get started. FanDuel.com/Missouri. Play your game with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA and of KMOX. Must be 21 or over and present in Missouri. No purchase necessary. Limit 1 entry. For Profit Boost token, opt-in required. Must apply Profit Boost token on select market. Restrictions apply. See full terms, including methods of entry, at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by Ethos.
AI startup Anthropic says it raised $30 billion in its latest funding round, which values the maker of the Claude AI models at $380 billion on the private market. Anthropic says business subscriptions to Claude Code have quadrupled since the start of 2026. Anthropic's recent software releases have been a primary factor in a prolonged stock sell-off for software makers. I'm Jason Brooks.
As the owner, coach, and quarterback of your small business, you call the shots. From inventory to payroll and more. Now it's time to bring in LendSeek, your funding MVP. No delay of game here. Get up to $2 million in as fast as 24 hours for business lines of credit or term loans. Let LendSeek's AI marketplace assist you in making the winning play and score that touchdown. Apply at lendseek.com, LENDSEEK.com.
Larry Older here. You know, one of the most rewarding parts of sharing Relief Factor with you is hearing real stories like that of Sandra. She tells us, I've been hearing about Relief Factor on the radio for a couple of years, and I finally decided to try it because nothing else was helping my back pain. I know the feeling. With a 3-week quick start, she said, I went for it. Now I feel like a new person. That's Sandra's own words, and it's so gratifying to hear. I've told you about my brother Kirk having difficulty going up and down the stairs in the morning. He wouldn't listen to me. I told him to take Relief Factor. He finally did. Began moving better, feeling stronger. Too bad he didn't listen earlier. Try it for yourself. The 3-week quick start. And see how Relief Factor could be your game changer too. It is only $19.95. Think about it. Do the math. Less than $1 a day. So call 800-4RELIEF. That's 800, the number 4RELIEF, or go to relieffactor.com. All one word, relieffactor.com. How will it feel to be out of pain? 800-4RELIEF, relieffactor.com.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Who's been talking about St. Louis sports since 1985? Bernie Miklasz.
I genuinely am excited about the start of the baseball season because this is an extraordinarily different baseball season for the St. Louis Cardinals. And not that anybody wants to rebuild, but it is going to be fascinating for me to see how this team evolves and emerges and all the stuff that Chaim Bloom does.
Bernie Miklasz. Hear what he has to say on the voice of the St. Louis Cardinals. 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. U.S. and Iranian officials are set to meet again next week as tensions grow over a possible U.S. strike on Tehran. President Trump wants Iran to eliminate its nuclear weapons program. CBS's Aaron Navarro with the latest.
Oman's foreign minister, who has been the key mediator between the U.S. and Iran during these indirect talks, he met with Vice President J.D. Vance in D.C. today, said that Iran has agreed to give up enrichment of uranium and that currently held nuclear fuel will be blended into oil. Still, despite that being conveyed to Vice President Vance, according to Oman's foreign minister, President Trump says he's still not happy with where Iran is in the negotiations.
The U.S. has cleared some diplomatic staff to leave Israel amid tensions with Iran. President Trump has told the U.S. government to immediately stop using Anthropic's technology. Frank Kendall, who was Secretary of the Air Force during the Biden administration, tells CBS's Major Garrett.
The government wants to have language or will accept language that says that the software can't be used for any unlawful use, which should be enough. Anthropic wants more than that. And this is a change, I think, to their current situation.
The Pentagon wanted unconditional use of Anthropic's Claude AI models. President Trump has set his sights on Cuba a month after imposing a fuel blockade on the communist-led island.
The Cuban government is talking with us, and they're in a big deal of trouble, as you know. They have no money, they have no anything right now, but they're talking with us, and maybe we'll have a friendly takeover of Cuba.
Los Angeles School Superintendent Alberto Carvalho is being put on paid leave while he is part of a federal investigation. The move comes 2 days after the FBI served search warrants at his home and the district's headquarters, but no details yet provided about the investigation. Former President Bill Clinton says he did nothing wrong with Jeffrey Epstein as he faced grilling over their relationship for several hours today in front of the House Oversight Committee. More from CBS's Nicole Killian.
Lawmakers raise questions about photos of Clinton in a hot tub next to an unidentified woman. Sources tell CBS News the former president said he did not know her, and when asked if they had sex, he said no. The recently released Epstein files also revealed a handwritten note from Clinton to Epstein on his 50th birthday and flight logs that show the former president traveled on Epstein's plane many times, although he previously said it was for philanthropic work.
Singer-songwriter Neil Sedaka has died. His hits included
Don't take your love away from me. Don't you leave my heart and live.
Among those covering his work were Elvis Presley, Frank Sinatra, and the Captain and Tennille. Neil Sedaka's family says he died today at age 86. This is CBS.
It's one of the most successful law and justice programs in television history that continues to uncover the truth. 48 Hours, Saturday on CBS and streaming on Paramount.
At 7:03, we've got 61 degrees. It feels like 56 downtown at the Arch. For the second day in a row, St. Louis Mayor Kara Spencer left a state-controlled police board meeting empty-handed. A day after the gubernatorially appointed board of police commissioners certified a budget Spencer says could force mass layoffs. A board committee today rejected her plea to include civilian oversight in a new police discipline rulebook. The committee voted without her to advance the manual without it. The St. Louis County Animal Care and Control Health Director is touting improvements at the shelter.
Just over 1 year ago, the APA turned control back over to St. Louis County. Problems immediately developed.
April, a parvovirus led to 19 dogs being euthanized. Veterinarian Doug Pernikoff abruptly resigned. In May, they hired a new director, Malik Johnson, but ACC still failed another inspection, triggering license suspension. In July, it regained its state license. Fast forward to today, and Health Director Dr. Kanika Cunningham tells KMOX they've learned from previous problems.
Ensuring that animals get the care that they deserve while they're here, so improving quality of care, and also ensuring that we can adopt out healthy, adoptable dogs, or even foster them out as well, or transfer or rescues.
KMOX wanted to know what's being done to minimize euthanasia. As Cunningham says they learned the importance of quarantining and isolating new admissions. Maria Kina, KMOX News.
St. Louis Public Schools pushes back changes in school start times. The Post-Dispatch reports the decision comes as the district braces for the second half of a scrutinizing state audit. After announcing a plan this week to push the middle and high school start bells from 7:15 to 8 or later starting in August, district officials now say they won't make any changes until the fall of 27. The district says the change was intended to improve attendance and academics through later start times, but a district official says the change could cost the district up to $5 million because of having to run 30 additional buses. The full audit will be released to the public in 2 weeks. Forecast overnight, clear sky, low 39. For tomorrow, sunshine, high 65. For Sunday, clouds and control periods of rain and some wet snow with a high of 45. Right now, downtown at the Arch, we've got 61. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
And we are into hour number 2 of a Gray Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. My name is Matt Pauley, continuing to broadcast from Cardinals spring training. Cardinals today, they matched up against the New York Mets. It was not a great performance. They end up losing by a 14-3 score. From a pitching standpoint, the guys who gave up some runs, Justin Brule gave up 3 runs. He's in competition for a bullpen spot. Also, Tink Hintz gave up 3 runs. Some minor leaguers gave up some runs as well. I'm not overly worried about that. I thought Quinn Matthews looked all right. He made the start. He gave up a run on a hit in 2 2/3 innings. At one point, because of pitch count, he had to get lifted, and then he re-entered the game in the 3rd inning when Ian Bedell came in. And we've already talked about this on the show today, but obviously something that we were all paying a lot of attention to was the fact that J.J. Weatherholt hit an absolute bomb, 422 feet, left the bat at 105 miles per hour as he gets off the proverbial schneid, I guess you can say. He had not had a hit in spring training play. Well, not only does he have a hit now, he has a home run. If you remember last year, he was somebody who hit the first home run of spring for the Cardinals. And look, I think this guy's got the mental makeup that you want from somebody who has as much pressure being put on him as he's got. Like, he, in many ways, and this is not like a shot at, say, a Mason Wynn or an Ivan Herrera, guys who are clearly going to be part of the next core of really good Cardinals baseball. But in many ways, it's J.J. Weatherholt who kind of represents all of that. And that can weigh you down sometimes. And all at the same time, he is trying to win a job. So good to see him hit the home run. And now we'll see what happens here moving forward with him. I've talked about this a couple times, and I tweeted something out about it and got a little bit of a response. So I wanted to mention this today, and I don't always like take my Twitter conversations and turn them into a segment, but I don't know. Let me start with that. Like, I don't know. I don't understand why. And we get it on this very stream. Like, for people who, whether you're texting into the program or if you're watching us on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, we get it all the time where there is a contingent of people that are just convinced that the Cardinals are secretly, they have this secret evil plan, insert evil laugh here, that they are going to keep J.J. Weatherholt down in the minor leagues for a significant amount of time. I mean, there's some people here who've sent in comments saying that and I don't think they're just being trolls, but they truly believe that Weatherholt is going to stay at AAA all of 2026 before getting the call up at some point in 2027. And like, I don't like calling people names or anything, but that's lunacy. That's crazy talk. That's absolute crazy talk. And I think there's about a 98% chance that Weatherholt is on the opening day roster. And if he's not on the opening day roster, it's because he has struggled so much during spring training that it's just beyond obvious that he's not ready. And nobody was talking like that was a thing even before he had a hit today, even as he's committed some errors. Like, there's nothing about his approach in at bats that makes you feel like this guy is overmatched. So even not collecting a hit until today, at no point in time did I waver off the idea that this guy's going to be on the opening day roster. And in fact, and we'll play Ollie's audio coming up later on this hour. We've got a bunch coming up this hour. Probably should have teased the hour to get things started. Tamar Sheriff from Channel 4 is going to join us in our next segment. We'll play audio from Oliver Marmol in the segment after that. And then we will, we'll hear from Jim Montgomery, the Blues coach, after that. All right, back to what I was talking about before I took my little sidebar, I guess you could say. There's JJ Weatherholt's being set up to make this team. And he is, before games even started, when they had the starting infield working on infield drills, he was the only guy at second base. He is being set up to make this team. And I don't understand the idea of people really believing that there's a chance that the Cardinals are going to try to keep him down. And service time manipulation used to be a thing. So this is where the tweet came in. I got a tweet today from the Bluminati, and it said, why not keep him down at AAA for a few weeks to retain the year of control while also giving him significant major league time and a chance to win Rookie of the Year? Well, you're probably familiar with the rules about when you have like a Rookie of the Year, how you get draft pick compensation that goes along with it, but also that player has to be on the opening day roster. If you hold a player down at AAA for the first month of the season and then bring them up as a way to do service time manipulation, and then they still end up winning Rookie of the Year, you don't get a draft pick. So Major League Baseball is trying to incentivize teams to have high-end players on rosters when the season gets started. So that draft pick compensation is very much connected to the opening day roster spot for said players. You don't get the draft pick if they're not on the opening day roster. So that was the answer. So then that same individual came back at me and said, well, then going back to last season, why wasn't he up to end the year when he was obviously ready? The team was going nowhere, and there wasn't going to be a huge issue with the 40-man, not like Heim and Mo couldn't talk to one another. And I'm not trying to relitigate last year. That's not really what I wanted to do. But I've heard people kind of bring up last year, and sometimes you forget about circumstances and you forget what's going on because we talked about this a lot. So I'm not going to spend a ton of time going back to this, but I think there are a fair amount of people who, because I hear it all the time. I surprisingly hear it all the time where folks are saying, why doesn't he have any major league service time? And people go back to Mason Wynn, where Wynn was able to finish out the year on the major league roster, get his feet wet, and then get going from there. And it's not an apples to apples comparison. And especially with the regime change, I think there's a couple things going on. First off, you wanted the 40-man was an issue that I didn't get the chance to respond to that tweet on, and I'm going to it at some point in time because I don't know if that person is listening to this show right now. But the 40-man roster at the end of the season and into the offseason absolutely was an issue. That was something where you think about all the roster moves that have been made this offseason. And you know what? Maybe none of them are really going to pay out big dividends. Maybe keeping a 40-man roster spot open so you could make a Rule 5 pick and go get Matt Pichard. Maybe he doesn't make the team and he's returned, and that's how it goes. Maybe maybe a George Soriano. I guess that wasn't really you didn't need a 40-man spot because that was a trade with Granillo, and he took the 40-man spot as well. But they had put in claims for Soriano previously, so they would have needed a 40-man spot. Like, you saw just the churn. And what the Cardinals are trying to do is they're trying to bring as much talent into the organization as possible, and they used every single spot on the 40-man as a way to do it. And again, people are probably listening to this and saying, well, that final 40-man spot is likely not to produce any high-end talent. And you might be right. But holding Weatherholt on one of those 40-man roster spots for the entire offseason, where, of course, you don't have the 60-day injured list either, like, it just didn't make sense. It was all about having as much of a blank slate as possible for Chaim Bloom as he stepped forward into this role. And clearly, they're going to have to make a 40-man decision at some point because Weatherholt isn't on it right now. So at some point in time, they are going to have to do something, and they are going to have to find a way to get him on the 40-man. I don't think that's going to be a big deal when it happens, but it's not something you didn't want to have. You didn't want to have a bogged down 40-man roster in the offseason leading into the first season under Chaim Bloom when you're going through a rebuild and when you are trying to bring in as much high-end talent and as much guys who can help. Like George Soriano, I say high-end talent. I guess what I'm actually saying is guys who have high-end abilities or high-end skills. Because Soriano is somebody who can strike a lot of dudes out. Like he's got a really high ceiling. He also has a very low floor, right? He has not put it together at the big league level. That ceiling to floor is wide open. But if the Cardinals, with the player development staff that they have and everything that they've got going on, if they could take a George Soriano and lift that floor by fixing some things and allow him to get closer to that ceiling, well, then you have a really good piece moving forward. You've got a guy that can help you moving forward. And you want to give yourself as many of those type of opportunities as possible when you are in this competitive cycle that the Cardinals are in right now. And those 40-man roster spots are valuable, especially right now. So no, I would not go back in time and bring up JJ Weatherholt. Would have there been value for Weatherholt to get a little bit of big league time at the end of last year just so he had that taste going into this season? Yes, I'm not running away from the idea that there would have been value there. There would have been value. But would have the value been worth what you lose by having more roster flexibility? That's where I would push back on it pretty darn hard and say, no, I don't think so. I think they made the right decision. So I enjoyed the person tweeting at me about that today. I think it's an interesting conversation. And it all got started because Derek Gould had quote tweeted something. I think it was from MLB Trade. Yeah, MLB Trade Rumors did a poll asking, will JJ Weatherholt break camp? Is this a live poll? Okay, so let's see. I'm voting. Okay, so right now, basically 71% of the people voting in the poll think that Weatherholt is going to be the opening day second baseman. So that means 29% of people think that he's not. And that's that's kind of the crazy thing in all of this, because Weatherholt is absolutely being set up to be the opening day second baseman for the Cardinals. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, Tamar Scher is going to join us. We'll talk with her for a little while. I got the chance to talk to her when she was recently down here covering Cardinals spring training. We were trying to get this interview. It's been a little while since I recorded the interview with her, but sometimes we're just so busy on this show, and we've got so many other things going on. Finally getting the opportunity to run my interview with Tamar. That's going to be coming up in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. It's a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Menard's 11% rebate is here. From lighting to lumber, from doors to floors. The bigger the project, the bigger the rebate. From painting projects to that new kitchen makeover and designing that outdoor space of your dreams. Save big on any project you're tackling. Hurry into Menards for an 11% rebate on everything. Mail-in rebate is a merchandise credit check, not a point-of-sale discount. Redeemable on future in-store purchases only, not on future purchases on Menards.com. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Check Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like nuclear reactor safety expert.
I disabled the backup cooling system. It was making such an annoying noise. You heard it, right? It was like,
we're on a countdown to core failure.
And you're saying we don't want that?
This is a job for sponsored jobs.
This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
Honey, that flu keeping you up? Did you take NyQuil Intense Flu?
Nah, I got this. Okay, I don't got this.
Yeah, you need NyQuil Intense Flu.
Undo your flu with NyQuil Intense Flu. NyQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms so you can sleep.
You do got this.
NyQuil Intense Flu. The nighttime sniffling, aching fever. Best sleep with the flu medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait, and don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Turning 50 doesn't mean slowing down. It means getting smarter about your health. That's why we created Neovitin Men's 50 Plus Multivitamin. It's doctor formulated to support your energy, immune health, and overall vitality. Plus, it's made in the U.S. using the finest domestic and international ingredients. Take control of your health with supplements you can trust. Look for Neovitin Men's 50 Plus at your local Schnucks, Dierbergs, or online at neovitin.com. Neovitin, made for men who keep moving forward.
Built on a century. Focused on today. The voice of St. Louis. KMOX.
It's Grave Our Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. We continue to broadcast from Jupiter, Florida, and Cardinals spring training. Always enjoy being able to bring all the folks on that are covering the Cardinals down here. That includes from Channel 4 and Matrix Midwest and everything they got going on. SLU sideline reporter. She's Tamar Chair. Tamar, great to see you. How are you?
It's been so fun hanging out with you in the sunny Jupiter, Florida. Sorry for you St. Louis people. I know it was warm before I left, but it is great hanging out with you here under the sun.
What did you think when you first walked in the facility and it looked so incredibly different?
Chaim Bloom said it best. He just said people walk in and they're looking like a kid in a candy store. It's so gorgeous. Really, it feels like a big league facility. And that's something that they knew they needed the renovations. It took years to come into fruition, but now that it's actually here, you could see it. I think what they have been excited the most about is what this can do for player development and what this can do, the opportunity it could provide. And it's not like they plan to have all these new things happen at once, but you have new faces. It's Chaim Bloom's first year as the official president of baseball operations. And now you have this brand new, gorgeous facility. It's all kind of clicking, coming together, and there's an opportunity to grow here.
Yeah, there's a lot of excitement because I think the team had been passed up a little bit by other teams in terms of being able to develop players, get players to be the best version of themselves. Now, you talk to players, they're all in on this. They want to be somewhere where they know they have all the resources that they need and feels like they have it now.
Yeah, I talked to Richard Fitz just moments ago, and he said that is what Heim said this opportunity would be, that this should be an exciting time in Cardinals baseball, maybe not in 2026, but in 2027, 2028. This is all a growing trend that the Cardinals are hoping to take this team into, and the way that they're getting guys to buy in, because there is so much pitching depth that was added. We walk into the clubhouse, this brand new, gorgeous clubhouse, and we're seeing a lot of new faces. That being said, I think this is the opportunity to see where they can take their talents, how they can grow as a collective. And that's something player development wise is why Chaim Bloom is here, is why he's doing what he's doing. He didn't want to get rid of a Brendan Donovan. He didn't think it was necessary unless the right opportunity came calling, and that's what happened. And that is what we're seeing, is reaping the rewards potentially of what these prospects could be in the near future.
Folks will see your coverage and all the conversations you're having throughout the duration of spring training. Is there a guy, you just mentioned talking with Richard Fitz, is there a guy or two or a single thing that's been said that so far has really jumped out at you as being interesting?
Well, I feel like I'm jumping on the bandwagon, but I'm not, because I was so excited to catch up with Durangelo Sainja. He threw his first live session yesterday, and we got to see him. First of all, he was all smiles, and this is a guy who's very loyal. And I asked him, you are coming from the team that drafted you. You came from Mississippi State. We talked to his former coach at Mississippi State, who said that he's a loyal guy. And he said, you know what? I came in here and was welcomed with open arms. I was just excited to take the mound. I was just excited to be here. Chaim Bloom saying he loved the stuff that he saw from him. He's really strong from his right, but he's the switch pitcher. He can also throw from his left, and he was doing both of those in warm up in the bullpen. So he's just a guy I'm really excited to see grow. And that's what we are looking toward in this new era of Cardinals, is seeing these young guys come into fruition and see what they can do and when they'll get their opportunity.
We're talking with Tamar Scher from Channel 4. Outside expectations we know are not overly high, but it's really remarkable. And Ali talked about this the other day about how the buy-in is there. It really feels like those outside expectations have not infiltrated inside what's going on. There's a lot of belief internally, which we'll see how that plays out, but that's seemingly the first step.
Yeah, you talk about a guy like Victor Scott II, Mason Wynn, Nolan Gorman, they've all reported before full squad workouts. So they all want to be here. Alec Burleson being here in the system. And I was talking to Victor about it. He's just stoked to see what he can grow into, tap into his potential. Of course, his defense, we've seen him steal bases. We've seen him defensively be a really good product. But what we're hoping to see as Cardinals media and as Cardinals fans in Victor Scott was the elevation, what he can do on the offensive side of his game. And that's something that he worked on a lot this offseason. We'll see how that produces, but he's a guy who is coming into camp, and he told me there's a lot of optimism because of this opportunity that guys are getting now. There is runway, there is leeway to be able to just work as hard as you can. And there's also healthy competition, especially among those pitchers, that there are a lot of new faces in the room. How do you earn your spot? Is Matthew Liberatore going to be the opening day starter? All of these conversations are being had because you're seeing guys now get their opportunity to say, hey, you have it. What do you do with the opportunity at hand?
Some pretty big news for you guys. The broadcast schedule was announced recently. There's going to be spring training games that run on Matrix Midwest. I know eventually we'll see regular season games. Throughout the year, it was announced that a condensed game broadcast is going to be on Matrix. So for folks who like watching Cardinal baseball over the air, you guys are able to provide that.
Yeah, 10 regular season games on KMOV, 8 spring training games over the air. And like you said, we've got these condensed hour-long games. And I think that's really in this era of what social media is and people wanting to get their information really fast, and also people who want and crave Cardinals baseball. This is an opportunity to be able to, you watch the full game, and now the next day you'll get the opportunity to watch a highlight reel, but it is a game that you're watching. You are watching the entirety of what's happening. And that was a really cool opportunity. It's not only for the St. Louis area, but beyond, and tapping into markets that Gray Television has clumped up with the St. Louis area for Matrix Midwest. The over-the-air has a farther reach. And I think that's what everyone I've talked to here in the organization and back at KMOV First Alert 4, that everyone's really excited to tap into the potential of what Matrix Midwest continues to show. And the partnership that we started last year and grew into this year, I think it's a really exciting thing for everyone.
I'd be remiss not to talk a little SLU basketball with you before we let you go. You've been doing the sideline reporting on the FanDuel Sports Network broadcast. How fun is this? This is the team right now in St. Louis.
Listen, Chaim was saying yesterday he wants to meet Coach Schertz. Like, that's amazing that you have the St. Louis buy-in, you have the national buy-in. Everyone wants an autograph from Robbie Avila, but also everyone wants an autograph from Brady Dunlap, Ishan Sharma, Kellen Thames, Trey Green. You want me to keep going? I mean, they literally have so much depth, and that's why this team is so fun. And similar to what you're talking about here of people needing to buy into this Cardinals system and this rebuild year, Josh Schertz and the head coach that he is, I know he's won everywhere, but he really does a great job of getting his guys to buy in and feel the relationship with each other. And you have 10 new faces in this team, and yet they're all close, they're all clicking, and they're winning. It's fun basketball, Matt.
He brings everybody in too. That's one of the interesting things. Anybody who has any association with that program, it feels like he brings you in, you're part of the family. And then all of a sudden you've got that many more people kind of pulling in the same direction.
Yeah, and it helps when you're winning. But he said we had to earn that. We had to be an exciting team. We had to win, and we had to be engaging. We had to be this energetic force that draws people into Chaffetz. He's saying, VCU, Dayton, those home games, you're always going to sell out Chaffetz. I mean, for the most part, that is what we've seen in recent years, is those are the rivalry games people come to. But then beyond that, and to continue to sell out Chaffetz with the regular season matchups they have in hand, it feels like they're never out of the fight. They're never out of the race. And then they're blowing out teams. I mean, they blew out Dayton at home on their home court. That is such an exciting thing for SLU fans to buy into. But again, it comes with their depth. That's something they didn't have last year. Now they have so many guys who can contribute. They all like each other. Coach telling me they were out to dinner on the road, and it was early on in the season. He's like, okay, let's see if we can sustain this. They're all no phones at the table. They're all laughing with each other, loving each other. And he looks at his wife and he goes, all right, we're going to be just fine. And look at them now.
Great story. That's Tamar Scher, Channel 4, Matrix Midwest, doing a great job. Appreciate you taking some time with us today.
Thank you, Matt. Love chatting with you always.
That's Tamar Scher from Channel 4 and Matrix Midwest, a conversation I had with her recently when she was down here covering the Cardinals and spring training. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we've got a lot to hear from when it comes to Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol. We talked to him today, and you are going to hear much of what he had to say. That's up next. We are in Jupiter, Florida. It's Cardinals spring training, and it's more of a Gray Bar Sports Open Line in just a moment right here on KMOX.
Start your day with an edge. Total Information AM.
It's like breakfast for your brain. I wake up, I turn on the news.
I gotta listen 3 or 4 times every day.
Debbie Monterey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman.
I like to wake up with the news.
Total Information AM.
It's where I get my news. Traffic conditions and potential weather that's coming.
Total Information AM. Weekdays 5 to 9.
I like to turn it on and just get caught up.
Where I get my news. The news, weather, and traffic.
On the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
If you suffer from burning, tingling, or numb feet, pay special attention as we discuss neuropathy with Dr. Patton, D.C. Doctor, what is neuropathy?
Peripheral neuropathy is nerve damage to the feet and legs.
What are the symptoms?
The symptoms are numbness, burning, tingling, pain, and loss of balance.
Is neuropathy treatable?
It's absolutely treatable, and we have amazing results.
If you have burning, tingling, numbness, coldness in your feet or hands or balance issues, call us at Comprehensive Integrated Health today for a nerve damage screening. The screening screening will tell if you're at risk for serious complications and if you're a candidate for our cutting-edge treatment program. Don't wait until your symptoms are so severe nothing can be done. End-stage neuropathy leaves people confined to walkers, wheelchairs, and even amputations. The first 10 callers will receive a free nerve damage screening. Call 636-538-5188. That's 636-538-5188 for your free nerve damage screening. 636-538-5188.
It's a great time, if there's ever a great time, to purchase a furnace or an air conditioner. I know it's winter. We got some great pricing. You can get 0% financing. So if you have been told that you need a new furnace, definitely give me a call. I could probably save you lots of money. Get a second opinion. Call me. Next day installs for your furnace so you won't be without heat very long. A furnace average install about 2-3 hours for a furnace. So not a big issue to do it now. And like I said, great pricing. So if that's you, call me. It's Bart Inman. One easy number, Missouri and Illinois. Just the easiest number. And there's one. 314-293-2600. Again, 314-293-2600. Or on the internet, it is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Back at it on a Gray Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. My name is Matt Pauley. It's time to have a little bit of fun with audio. We like to do this. We'll actually do a lot of this until the end of the program. We'll hear from Blues coach Jim Montgomery from his daily media briefing in just a while. But right now, let's listen back to some of what Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol had to say today. Cardinals lose to the Mets by a 14-3 score. However, of note was J.J. Weatherholt, not just hitting a home run off a really good pitcher in St. Louis and Devin Williams, but also hitting a home run that travels 422 feet. You talk about getting all of one. He absolutely did. And after the game, manager Oliver Marmol said that Weatherholt's swing is impressive.
We were talking about it prior to the home run. Just his misses are what you want them to look like too, as far as like how he's staying through the baseball and not coming around cutting his swing off short. It's just like he's staying on it, and at times he's missing just under, but that one obviously he's squared up. But the approach has been really good. That swing specifically against him, against Williams, really darn good.
We've talked a lot about what to expect from Weatherholt in terms of power, because he's not a per se power hitter, but he's gonna get his fair share of home runs. And Ollie says that's actually a really good thing, that he does not give up average for power.
It's a combo of it, but it's not like where it's power at the expense of everything else. It's the right approach. He's quick to the ball, he's direct, and uses the whole field. So he gets enough behind it to do what he did today, but it's not at the expense of high swing and miss or anything like that, you know. That's what makes it fun to watch.
We also saw the spring training debut of Ramon Urias as he goes 0 for 2 with a strikeout. He was a late signing. He plays at second base. We'll see him at second. We'll see him at third. We'll see him maybe even at first base on occasion. And Ali said that really when you talk to Urias and see the way he handles himself, he really brings a good temperament to the team.
He's quiet. He's confident. He communicates exactly what he needs. He's been around, understands his body. It's been easy conversation with him, which is helpful. Like, he understands what he's stepping into and how he's going to play his part in this. It's a real glove, man. I mean, he's a good player, and I think he's going to add a lot of value. But it's been good to get to understand kind of a little bit of how he thinks and how he communicates, but it's been an easy conversation.
Beyond his temperament, how about the impact that he's going to make on the infield?
Makes you better. Allows for clean defense regardless of where you put him, whether you need to give a guy a day off or injure, whatever the case may be. But this is a guy that plays the game the right way and does the little things well. So you want young guys kind of watching that, because when it comes to the defensive side, like, he's in the right spot at the right time, does the little things, real clean defense.
From a pitching standpoint, Quinn Matthews goes 2 2/3 innings, gives up a run on a hit, 3 strikeouts, and 2 walks. He gave up the run in his first inning of work. At one point, had to be lifted and then did the re-entry. And Ollie thought that as the game went along, Matthews got better.
Because you look at the first 11 pitches, 8 of them were balls, and then kind of got ahead of the last 4 or 5 guys. Got the last 5 out. So, like, that's what you want to see. Obviously, it didn't start the way he wanted to, but it got better as he got going.
Other pitching notes, we saw George Soriano pitch for the first time. He looked okay. He went an inning, gave up a run on a couple hits. It was an unearned run against Soriano, and for the most part, Ollie is happy with what he saw from Soriano.
Pretty good. So he's been really working on that slider, the gyro that kind of has a little bit more to it, and to be able to get a couple punch outs with it today was obviously a really good step for him.
Good to see Ryan Fernandez have a little bit of success. He went 1 inning, gave up a hit, no runs, and Ollie talked about what they're seeing in terms of improvement from Fernandez.
Consistency of filling up the zone, the fastball continues to tick up, and then the vertical break on it continues to also head in the right direction. But that those continue to trend up and hold. There's not a ton of variability in them.
Before the game even started, Dustin May went through a simulated game on the backfields, and that's really his first competitive environment. He should be pitching in a game sooner than later. He ran his fastball up. He was touching like 97, 98. It was all the way there. And when Ali talked about him, said that he was full go in that sim game.
Zero hesitancy. I mean, he's full go. This early on for the velo to be where it's at, for that to be this early and for him to feel like he's feeling bouncing back from his lives and everything is a plus for sure. But there's really good life to it. I feel like he's in a really good spot. So I'm excited about the progression that we have him on for sure.
A lot of talk about Dustin May today because he's on a little bit of a different ramp-up program than the other pitchers. We haven't seen him in a Grapefruit League game quite yet. And Ali said that they're working very hard to have him on a pace that keeps him healthy.
This is what I do like about not just here's the norm and we're going to fit you into it and hope at the end it works out. This game will present itself the way it does, and you can't avoid certain things that happen and injuries and you name it. But we want to be extremely thoughtful in how we get through spring training and make sure we're giving each guy a personalized plan to get through it and feel good about where they're at when the season starts. And in talking to May, we were able to point to some things that we felt like are meaningful with what we did with Sonny last year and others, and tailor his program accordingly. And we're in a good spot. He is on board, and that makes that part easier.
Getting May through the 162-game season is what really led to their ramp-up plan.
Being able to take somebody pole to pole and how we think the best way of doing that with what we know and what he's been through. And last year, even from a weight standpoint, how he came into spring compared to what he's used to, and then the workload layered on top of that. He's in to use his words, this is the best he's felt in a long time. Arm, body, composition, all of it. So we want to make sure that's great. And whenever you're feeling good, you tend to want to ramp up and do more. Like, we want to make sure we're thoughtful about that.
And I thought this was interesting. Before they even signed him, when they first started talking to him about potentially being a Cardinal, they told him that they wanted to create a plan to help keep him healthy.
Right out the gate before we even signed him, to make sure that he understood that this was going to be important to us. And we quickly realized it was important to him. We talked through that at length.
So we can go over the numbers, and I mean, the games are being played. I'm not trying to tell you that stats and things that happen in games don't matter, but there is a conversation about how much they matter. And that was a conversation today. Ali said that you have to take spring stats really with a grain of salt.
I don't try to put a ton of weight into someone hitting 330 with 2 homers. I mean, I don't think that's the right way to evaluate spring, especially knowing across the way what those guys aren't trying to game plan against you and execute against your weaknesses. They're usually trying to work on their own weaknesses and improve some of the things they're working with. So you're evaluating at a much deeper level than just looking at the stat line, regardless of veteran or rookie.
So you start to dig in sometimes on good numbers and bad numbers. When you see somebody who's putting up really good numbers in spring, part of it is making sure that the underlying numbers back it up as being legit.
It doesn't hurt when you throw some numbers up there. The same way when you don't, like, keep a close eye on like all the underlying stuff actually pointing in the right direction and not just convincing yourself that they are. So yeah, it helps you want the guys to perform, don't get me wrong.
Right.
Yeah, but you want to make sure everything else underneath that stat line is pointing in the direction of sustainability.
And then on the other side of it, when things are not going well for someone in spring, you have to figure out the why. Is this something that's just a small sample size? Is it bad luck, or is there a reason for those bad numbers?
It depends on why it's not working. If it's because ball and play led to hits and a couple runs where the underlying stuff says that the expected on it shouldn't have done that, then you just keep moving. But if it's not working because he keeps locating it where it gets smacked, then yeah, you take it. Like the stuff looks good, but where he locates it hasn't worked, and he's continuing to repeat that, then yeah, you don't project that to change for some reason. Like he's got to work on getting it to the right spot. So it's just why it's not working more so.
A couple other things from Oliver Marmol before we wrap this up. He says that they are continuing to keep a very close eye on Nelson Velasquez at bats, as he's one of those guys who's really trying to win a job on this club.
Right now, I'm just really dialed into like seeing the quality of at bat. Because yes, you need a right-handed bat against lefties, but you know how that works. You bring him in, 3-batter minimum is they're through the 3-batter. They bring in right on right. Like, what do those look like? And is it still better than leaving the other matchup that you had on the bat? Like all of that, right? When he starts against the lefty, sure, that makes sense. So you're just looking for quality of at bat, like what that truly looks like.
We saw Thomas Sajaci play out in center field. He's still really not getting much action. He did make a catch in the second inning, so that certainly was good. But he played in left field the other day, didn't get anything out there. Ali said, I mean, obviously you want a guy learning to play the outfield to get as many fly balls as possible, but even when that's not happening, there is still some value.
There is something to just seeing yourself in the lineup and the like angst that comes with, all right, standing out there and actually still playing the position and getting reads and seeing batted balls, even if they're not your way, and just getting a feel for that. But obviously you would want him to get some action and be able to react to it and see kind of first step and reaction and routes and all of it, but you can't script it.
And then final thing, like I just thought this was interesting. He talked about John Jay because he's the guy who coaches the outfielders and the work that Jay does to help outfielders specifically with their reads. Basically saying Jay will get the field cam where you can see the entire outfield and we'll watch the ball off the bat and then look at what outfielders are doing and how quickly they're reading that ball. And then that is a teaching tool for those outfielders.
What JJ does, John Jay, is he'll end up watching the overhead of every pitch of that game.
Oh, yeah.
And just seeing kind of first step, even when balls are fouled off directionally, is he going to the right, all that type of stuff. So you still gain something from it, yeah.
That is Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol speaking earlier today. We are going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk some Blues hockey. They got a 5-1 win yesterday against Seattle. Dylan Holloway had a hat trick in the first game back from the Olympics. Blues coach Jim Montgomery speaking earlier today. We'll hear a little bit from him coming up in just a moment. It's a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Working full-time but still falling behind? Learn how real estate education can help you build income and get ahead on your terms. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
Every spring brings promises, and every spring delivers surprises. This year, the Cardinals are writing a new story, and there'll be plenty of surprises. Matt Pauley is in Jupiter with inside access to Camp Cardinals.
Presented by St. Louis Composting. Composting, growing gardens and making memories. And Happy Roof. We always create happy endings.
From breakout performances to roster revelations, get reports throughout the day on the voice of the Cardinals. KMOX.
New tax resolution firms are popping up every day with high-paid celebrity endorsers, advertising ridiculous claims in their TV ads. That's why they have the tiny, unreadable disclaimers at the bottom of the screen. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. Our ads never have those ridiculous, fast-talking, tiny disclaimers at the end because, simply put, there are no guarantees when it comes to the IRS and wiping out tax bills. And we don't make promises we can't keep. Of course, there are ways the Lance Drury Law Firm can help resolve your tax debt, but no company can guarantee it will eliminate it. This is why their clients call the Lance Drury Law Firm when those promises don't pan out. If you have tax problems, you have legal problems, call me, Lance Drury in St. Louis at 314-260-6120 or visit Lance, DRURY law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Over 35 years, I've seen it all. Car crashes, work injuries, defective products, medical mistakes, lives flipped upside down in an instant. But I've also seen something else, the power of fighting back, the power of winning. Over $30 billion recovered and counting. Size matters, reputation matters, results matter. There's only one Morgan & Morgan.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Meet Linda. She's stuck in a school pickup line, thinking about what to make for dinner. Are the kids' practice jerseys clean? If she sent out that last email before leaving work. But you know what she's not thinking about? Her HVAC system. Linda is a preferred partner with Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation. Members get 2 HVAC system checks per year. We clean and inspect your HVAC systems at each visit. Partners also get priority service and exclusive discounts starting at just $19 per month. Life is chaos, but with Air Comfort Service, you'll have peace of mind with your HVAC system. Visit aircomfortservice.com today. After all, comfort is our middle name.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
In Jupiter, Florida, Cardinal Spring Training is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line. We are starting to wrap things up here on the program as we are going to get into the weekend. When we get done here, we're going to have our Gas House Gang replay coming up. So you're going to get more of me, myself, Mike Claiborne, Chris Ranji, have you for the Gas House Gang today, 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock here on KMOX. Yesterday, the Blues came back from the Olympic break, and they came away with a 5-1 victory against Seattle. Dylan Holloway has a hat trick in the contest. He also had an assist as he returned from a sprained ankle. The Olympic break allowed the Blues to get a little bit healthier, and now they are going to return to action coming up tomorrow when they've got a home game against the New Jersey Devils. Head coach Jim Montgomery speaking to the media earlier today. Robert Thomas continues to be out for personal reasons. It sounds like he is likely to play in the game coming up tomorrow. He had been a little bit banged up himself, and Montgomery did say that in a perfect world, Thomas would get a little bit more practice time before being able to return, but they're dealing with the circumstances that they have right now.
Ideally, he would have practiced a couple of more times, but again, personal reasons, and they've take precedence.
Mentioned that Dylan Holloway had the hat trick yesterday. When you look at that line, Holloway on one wing, Janssen Berggren on the other line, on the other wing, and then Pius Suter in the middle. Montgomery spent some time talking about that line specifically and what allowed them to play well.
The three of them worked well together. First of all, Berggren was hunting and very active, and his habits and details were really good, especially in the offensive zone. Holloway was doing what he does best, which is winning one-on-one battles, winning one-on-two battles, being physical and using his speed and using his shot. And then 22 brings he connects the dots. Like their triangles in the offensive zone were really good. And I give all three of them credit on the Holloway goal. He's the one that had to work to the strong side to create that shot opportunity, but that's the triangle we're talking about when we talk about triumph, starting to sound like Phil Jackson.
Suter in the middle of all that. He really has done a nice job this season. And Montgomery said what he has learned about Suter as the year has gone along.
As a player, The way Rick Tocchet and Adam Foote described him is exactly what we've gotten. Cerebral player, reliable, very smart defensively, very smart offensively, real good support in both ends of the ice, especially near the net, and in high-end penalty killer. I guess the thing was, as a person, you don't know the person you're getting, but extremely cerebral, the way he plays the game is the person he is, which isn't usually the case, but very calm, and very knowledgeable.
Another player who has improved as the year has gone along is Logan Mailloux. There was a trade in the offseason, and sometimes it takes defensemen a little bit longer to develop. He has been playing some better hockey recently.
Mentally and physically, the way he's playing the game, he is light years ahead of where he was the first couple of months in training camp. We see a guy that's skating now. There's a play in the first period. We disrupt the play behind the net. He gets the puck. He kills the play. And he skates right away and carries the puck out of the zone. And we end up on a rush because of it. Just little plays like that. How active he was in the offensive zone. How he held on to pucks and just didn't throw them. He held on to it till he found a teammate or put it to an area where a teammate was skating into. These are plays where you're seeing when guys make confident plays with the puck and are assertive defensively, you see them starting to really grow. And the next level will be just continuing to add layers of that. Seeing him be more physical, seeing him be more assertive offensively and defensively. Like, I think he had a couple of opportunities. He has a really good one-timer. He let one go yesterday. I think he could have let two more go. And I think that'll be the next step of him being really confident.
And then the final thing from Montgomery, this is kind of fun. Tomorrow, they're going to play a little bit earlier. They've got a 4 o'clock game over at the Enterprise Center. And let's just say Montgomery definitely is a fan of games being played a little bit early.
Play more afternoon games. It's better for everybody. You can have dinner tomorrow night with your family. It's a lot of benefits of afternoon games.
They're actually going to play back-to-back early games, as they're going to play an afternoon game on Sunday, although that's going to be on the road, so it's a little bit different against Minnesota. That is it. Thanks so much for being tuned in. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll have Cardinals baseball all weekend long right here on KMOX, and then we'll be back with you for Sports Open Line coming up on Monday from Jupiter, Florida and Cardinal Spring Training. This has been a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
This is an important message for anyone struggling with $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or personal loans.